Oh, Grand Rising, everybody. How you doing? How you doing? This is your coach Renz, and today is Friday. It's a great day. I'm going to be going over some things. Actually, going to do something that I rarely do, and actually, it was inspired by the fact that I was watching this video by this young lady, Christy Burke, that she posted 10 days ago, and I was like, usually those are things that I keep private. I don't really go over those things unless I'm doing it in the counseling session, but I decided I'm going to do it today because it was a good point. But give them a few minutes for people to get on. Welcome to the show. If you're finding me for the first time, then what we do here, this is a channel that is dedicated to deconstructing from Christianity and any other religion, but primarily Christianity, as well as getting better in your life, growing your finances, growing your relationships, your what? Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. My computer, my laptop, it blinked out. It did that yesterday. I saw that it said something about a message about my internal battery has lowered less capacity now. So I might have to get a new computer. But this is irritating. If it goes out again, then we're going to switch to we'll switch to a different program. We'll switch it. It seemed like it kept going, but I don't know. I disappeared. We still haven't hit the 5-minute marker, which is where we get started. So if you're with me, if you're there, if you're still there and you're on Facebook or YouTube, let me know. You're on Facebook or YouTube. Let me know. That ain't gonna work. Let me know that you're here because I appreciate everybody for being here. Hopefully my laptop don't blink out on me like that again. I have no idea why I did in the first place, but it says something about the battery. Something about battery. So, Grand Rising. How you doing, Christian? Yo, I hope today is very interactive. I hope that we're all interactive.
I skipped the button. Can't be showing all my flesh. The Lord might come and get me if I show my flesh. I gotta hide my flesh.
So we're going to talk about now I got to tell you, this is a subject matter that normally I only discuss this normally when I am coaching someone. This is not a discussion that I normally have outside of coaching, or if I'm talking to other people who coach. It's not that kind of conversation. The reason why is if you've been following me for a while and you've seen a few times that I've allowed someone who's devout to get on the show, I will, once we start talking about faith, or I'll say, well, that's faith, and I don't argue faith, right? I leave faith alone. Grand Rising Brett, how you doing? From the Caribbean island, St. Kitts, and then it's starting to get cold up here. But so I normally will not argue someone's faith. But when I'm going through and I'm deconstructing with someone, you have to get to a point where you argue the point of faith. The points of faith then have to be argued. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And we're going to go through the process, the beginning process of when I began to break down the barriers that a person has to overcome when they are deconstructing from this religion. When all of us who have been Christian, all of us who have been in religion, we know there comes that point where the big escape, one of the big things that keep you in faith of this deity out of the Bible, or any deity for that matter, but we are specifically speaking of the one of the Bible. That's the one that I've studied. It's the one that I grew up in. But that deity says in 1 John 4:8, it tells us what? That God is love, right? In fact, we're going to do this where we can see it. We're going to actually, some of these we go and look at. But for this first part, we're definitely going to look at this first one. 1 John 4. And 1 John 4, verse 8, it says, and you can look at the whole chapter. I mean, not the whole chapter, but a few verses in it. Hey, Dee Dee, how you doing, young lady? I haven't seen you in a while. Grand Rising. Enjoying that Florida weather down there. It's bullshit. But so when you look at John 4, 1 John 4, it clearly states this, and that's why I want to make sure that we understand. It clearly states it. Start at verse 7. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God, and everyone who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. In this, the love of God was manifested towards us, that God has sent his only begotten Son into the world that we may live through him. In this love, not that we loved God, but that he loved us and sent his Son to be the propitiation of our sin. Beloved, if God so loved us, we also ought to love one another. Now we should love one another. We definitely should. But it said clearly in verse 8 that God is love. And if you've been in church for any amount of time, you know you have heard that 11 times over and over again that God is love. Right? Who's heard that? Oh, this class participation today. Who's heard that one? Who's been told that one? Who knows that that's the understanding that they were given when you was in the church house? All right, BD talking to me. Good. Joel, all right. Grand Rising, sir. So we know that's what we've been taught, right? God is great. God is good. Let us thank him. I was just playing Joel. But so we know that this is what we have been taught in the church house, right? We've been church taught by your parents, your grandparents, your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, everybody around you, your community. They teach you that God is love. Yeah, almost every other son. God is love. God is love. God is love. Kids say that. Still say that when they eat. Them big old jokers should be too big to be doing that. But if that's what makes them happy. So now, most of the time when you hear a preacher, he's preaching and he talks about John, 1 John 4 and 8, and he says, God is love. Then he tries to tell you what, then go over to 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. And he said, well, let's look at what love is, as defined by Paul in his letter to the church of Corinthians. Right? I'm trying to remember how that goes. God is great. God is good. Let us thank him for our food. Bow our heads. We are fed. Thank you for our daily bread. I think it was like that. Jesus is love. He won't let you down, singing queen. But when a pastor starts talking about that, then they want to go to 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. These are the attributes of love, right? So let's look at it. Love suffers long. Love is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up. It does not behave rudely. Does not seek its own. Is not provoked. Thinks no evil. Does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth. Bears all things. Believes all things. Hopes all things. Endures all things. That is that's the King James Version, the New King James Version. Most of the time they're reading out them NIVs. So we're going to go through a process here and break down Grand Rising Paul, Grand Rising Eileen. Oh, we're gonna get to the don't worry, Paul. We're gonna get to the Jesus part of it all. As far as why sending Jesus was not a token of love, it's not fit the attributes of love, but actually one of the opposites of such thing. But what I am not going to do is jump out of the order to which I had already planned on going through. Grand Rising CJ. So, and Grand Rising Denise, how you doing? I want you guys to also participate in this, because when I take someone through the process of deconstructing after they've chosen to deconstruct, I don't just say, here's this, here's that, here's this, here's that. I allow them to search for it on their own. I allow them to figure it out and come to it more so on their own, so that it is of their own mindset with just my guidance that we get there. Uh, I try to do that. I do that in pretty much every aspect of coaching. I will lead them to lead themselves. So if we're looking at this idea that God is love, and we're going to go through each one of these attributes, right? So it says that love suffers long. Now, most people just automatically just utilize love is patient, right? I wish I had a version that is, I don't know what version breaks it down into the ways that most people talk about it, because I want to make it easier for us to go through it. But I know normally right there is people say love is patient. But love suffers long. I guess the love suffers long is what it's going to be today. And let me see if there's an American. Isn't there like a Bible that's like an American's? Let me see. I think this says American. Let me see what their American version. There we go. Got to get the American version, because this is what most people are more familiar with. Love is patient. I want y'all to think about that. Does this deity shows patience for people? Does it show? Are there examples where? Are there more examples of? Now this is God. He's supposed to be the all. But where's his patience? Was he patient with Jonah? I mean, you guys know the story of Jonah. Jonah, the belly of a fish. Was he patient with Jonah? Hey, Jonah, I want you to go preach to the people in Nineveh. Nah, kind of don't feel like doing that. That's not my thing. There's some messed up people over there. So Jonah decided to get on the boat. I'm gonna throw a storm at you and cause everybody on this boat gonna die because Jonah don't want to go. Jonah realized that Jonah, being kind to the people on the boat, throw me off the boat, man. It's my fault. This is a stupid ass story anyway. Boat. So he puts him in the belly of a fish for 3 days. He's not patient. He doesn't have a conversation with Jonah and explain to Jonah and talk to Jonah about why and what. Chaz over there. I'm gonna put you in the belly of this fish. I'm not gonna be patient at all. You're gonna do what I tell you to do and like it. I'm gonna use this variations of this aspect multiple times in this talk today. Children of Israel, they had supposedly, according to this book, had been in Egypt as slaves for hundreds of years, right? Of course, by the time they're leaving, by the time we get to Moses, these people have been born and raised for generation after generation after generation into a system of slavery under the rulership of the Egyptian people, right? They go through all the plagues, they go through all the stuff, they cross the Sea of Reeds, not the damn Red Sea. They cross the Sea of Reeds. I guess I shouldn't have did that. But the Sea of Reeds. And when Moses leaves for like 40 days, they were used to a lifestyle. And I want you to think how familiar this sounds. They were used to the Kemetic, the Egyptian lifestyle. They were used to seeing all the Egyptian gods and all these sorts of things, paying homage to them because they were enslaved people. So when Moses abandons them for 40 days, they build a golden calf. Moses comes down, sees the golden calf, throws down the 10 Commandments, and then kills 3,000 people. Where's the patience? Let me put it in more recent terms. My ancestors have been enslaved in this country for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. No, they weren't enslaved for 400 years. They were just in Egypt for 400 years. They was only in Egypt. They was only enslaved for about 135 of those years. Not that that is nothing. That's still something. But for 135 years of being, 135, 165 years of being enslaved, that's still a long ass time of enslavement. You pick up the habits of those people. Just like most of us who deconstructed, who are of color, we picked it up from the slave master. To expect everybody to just deconstruct and go back to their original religions, no, it's not going to happen quickly. It's not going to happen quickly. It takes time. At least these people, they did have some idea of their Yahweh God. But if grandmama and them had a statue of Hathor, or you watched them pay respect to because they built the calf. That's why I'm saying Hathor. If they pay respect to Hathor all her life, you watch your mom, your dad do that. You watch your grandmama do that. You watched everybody in your community when they pass these statues of Hathor, they pay respect to Hathor. Just because you freed them, you expect them to just automatically cast all that aside. But we're going to get to why they're leaving them in slavery, though. Don't worry, that's a different part of it, Teal. So this guy is not patient. This guy is not patient. Who was it? It was a guy, and some of these can be used for multiple things going on, attributes that he's failing at in some of these examples that I'm giving. But I'm going to try to stick it in there, stick it into that point. When didn't want to have sex with his brother's wife, his deceased brother's wife, and produce a child with them because it wouldn't be his, he just straight killed him. He didn't, amen, look, this tradition, okay? I know this bothers you. You got time to come down and talk to Abraham and Moses. And you got time to come down and talk to everybody else. But this dude, I ain't got time to talk to you. I'm just going to kill you. So where's the patience? There's no patience. No patience whatsoever. So we know, you know what? Y'all, it's good I don't have a whiteboard behind me, because I would do a scoreboard. It would be like, God is love, God is not love. Not love, one. All right. Love is patient. The second, love is kind. Love is kind. Now, how would you describe kind? Yeah, I know that would have been a good idea. If I remake this video and as a more concise video, not a live, when I get a whiteboard, I'm gonna do that. All right, so love is kind. How would you describe kind? A kind person, is nice to people, right? A kind person takes care of people. A kind person gives to people, and people say, "Oh, he gave us Jesus." Where are the genocides? Is that kindness? All the genocides? Where's the kindness in the genocide? A young lady is Grand Rising, Jeremy. A young lady is accosted by a man, and then when they're caught, he pays the father 50 pieces of silver, and the young lady has to marry her assailant. Where's the kindness? You can beat your slave, but as long as they don't die within 2 days. First, the fact that you can beat your slave. Where's the kindness? Well, first, the fact that you got slaves. Then the fact that you can beat the slave. And then if the slave dies after the third day, then the master is not to be punished. Where's the kindness? A kind person has empathy for others instead of yourself. See, when I'm taking somebody through the process of deconstructing, I will ask them to describe to me what kindness is to you. And then based on their description, then we go and I show them how this deity is not kind, right? So a kind person has empathy for others instead of yourself, is what Jeremy said, right? So empathy for others instead of yourself. When the children of Israel came out of Egypt, so according to the story, where was the empathy for the Canaanites, the Amorites, and the Hittites that he was just going to kick them out of their land and kill them? Where was the empathy for when they were getting ready to enter into Jericho and he just decided to kill all the men, all the women, all the children, all the babies? He killed all the babies in Jericho. Now, this deity loved him some prostitutes because he always makes sure some prostitutes kind of like slip through. Grand Rising Richie. You say, you tell me you must see nothing but goodness from them if they claim to be a man of God or woman? No, they are very ignorant, very impatient. But in this kindness, where is the kindness that this deity pays to people? When a man who goes out, he collects some wood on the Sabbath. Obviously, he had a need for it. When they catch him collecting the wood, God orders Moses and the people to stone him. And if any of the people don't participate in the stoning, then they are excommunicated from the community. Where is the kindness? We're not going off topic. There was no stream. I just talked about it briefly yesterday. I don't know at what point, but yeah, just briefly yesterday in that 3-hour video. So I don't see kindness in this deity. Not when you genocide repeatedly, when you got rules that cause the person who has been assaulted to have to marry that person. You have rules of slavery and beating the slave, and the fact that you approve of slavery. You're missing out on some kindness. You're missing out. Love is not jealous. How would you guys describe jealousy? I would describe jealousy as wanting something solely for yourself and not wanting someone else to have it. Being fearful and insecure that if the person in front of you or the item may be taken by somebody else, or they may willfully go to somebody else, that would be jealous, that somebody is giving their attention elsewhere from you, and you desire to have that attention, but you don't want them to give any of their attention any other place. Like, that is how I would define jealousy. How would you guys define it? Because the way I see it, the Bible was translated in 1611. To my understanding, those were claims that the infallible word of God is the word of man. Well, yeah, it's the word of man. It ain't. There's no God that wrote this book. Right. He said that he regretted making mankind. That's true. But God is not jealous. This God is incredibly jealous. How many times does this God say, I am a jealous God? I am a jealous God. He self-admits over and over again that he is a jealous God. If what I know it was for survival, not for comfort. I think it's holding the law and making the examples of working the Sabbath. What if you need to work on the Sabbath for your survival? Right. Can't understand that. But this guy over and over claims and says, I am a jealous God. I am a jealous God. I am a jealous God. You want me to believe that you're not a jealous God, that love is not jealous, but it constantly says, I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I'm jealous. I mean, hell, the first four of the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt have no other God before me, because he's jealous. I'm gonna come back to these again for another reason. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven images. That's about him again, ain't it? Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Remember the Sabbath day and keep it holy. He don't even get to actual morality until the fifth one. Honor thy mother and thy father. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not steal. The first four is wasted on him because he's so jealous. And that also, he's another attribute in here as well. Exactly. He killed Aaron's son for building a fire in the wrong way. That is not kind at all. That is not patience at all. See, some of these things that he does, he demonstrates multiple things. But he self-proclaims that he's jealous. So that's the ant on that one right off the bat. Love does not brag. Where's my little Christian, Paul? To brag, it's this guy I know. He used to come to Atlanta. Every time he come there, he got to tell you what he got. I always got to brag. Braggadocious. I made all this, I made all that on day one. It's good. I made this, I made that. It's good. I made this and I made that. It's good, y'all. All my shit good. He's always talking about how his stuff is good. Everything I did is good. Without the approval of a young girl, inserted himself into her womb, was then born of himself and this young lady to be himself in Jesus. And then Jesus ain't done shit yet, right? Ain't really done nothing except that one time when he was 12. Ain't done nothing. But comes down and said, this is my son to whom I am proud. It's my son. It's my son right here, y'all. Y'all see my boy? You see my boy? That's my boy, because that's myself. That's my boy, because that's myself. He bragging. Job. You want to see the biggest example of this deity bragging? Read Job. Now, Job not been through hell and a handbasket. I could have used Job for some of these other ones too. But Job not been through some mess. Lost his kids, lost his health, lost all his money, lost his house, lost everything. And Job is just simply saying, I worship you. I keep your commandments. I do everything you ask me to do. I ain't never hurt nobody. All this stuff happened to me. Just looking for some answers. Just some answers. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Where were you when this and that happened? Where were you? Where were you? And I did. Where were you? Can you make the lightning strike? Well, that's the arrogant part. We're going to get to the pride arrogance part next. But all up in Job's face, boasting about what he did. It's what I did. What you do, Job. You ain't got that. So you kind of you kind of now love does not brag and love is not arrogant, because arrogance comes right after that. And that's also, you might read in your Bible says love is not prideful. And this Bible does say pride comes before the fall. And I actually don't see anything wrong with regular pride. Pride is fine. I'm proud of my son. I'm proud of my daughters. You know, I'm proud of the majority of the life that I've lived. You know, you see what I'm saying? I'm proud to be here to speak with you guys. I don't think there's anything wrong with pride, but understand that in this instance, it's not meaning pride in that regard, it's meaning arrogance. Right? If everything was made good, but then he regretted making everything and everything is evil, right? And then he had to destroy everything. That wasn't kind. But arrogance, when you're reading that portion of Job, when you look at the story of Job, there's arrogance in the beginning and there's arrogance at the end. In the beginning, the arrogance is displayed when he's simply the Satan, the administrator, the adversary, is minding his own business, ain't talking to God, ain't bring up a conversation with God. This guy said, hey man, where you been? With the purpose. He knew where he was going with the argument. Hey man, where you been? No, you know, to and fro, earth and heaven. I'm supposed to be the Satan and the devil, but I'm still up here with you, right? Even though we're supposed to have this war, but to and fro. Check out my boy Job. My boy Job be all up in my worship. You see my boy Job? Arrogant. Arrogant as hell. Satan is just like, well, yeah, he that way because, you know, you give him everything. I mean, if you gave me everything, I worship you too. If I never had no problems and I knew you was handling it, yeah, I worship you. Shit, yeah. Nah. You want to put a bet on it? Arrogant as hell. Messed up that man's life. Took his kids. Killed people. Kids killed out of his arrogance. And then when Job had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to question it, he got a little attitude with Job. We got a big attitude with Job. Arrogant attitude with Job. Oh, do you know the secret passageway? Didn't think so. Do you know how to lightning strike? Didn't think so. Arrogant as hell. Incredibly arrogant deity. What are y'all saying? Everything is made up. Then let me see what y'all saying before we continue. I was arguing about Job with someone the other day. He told Job stand up like a man after killing his family. Boy. But they got on the answer for that too. It was Satan who messed it up. Nope, this deity, he messed it up. Yesterday's conversation about Job was good and I appreciate it. It shows so much of what Christians don't normally hear. No, they don't. Coach, permit me to say this. All the attributes ascribed to Jesus and God. He walked on water, turned water into wine, Son of God, Father is one God, love is beyond man. What about nature? Nature is love before intelligent elements. Elements, water, air, fire, sun. Yeah, I can grant you that in Brett. There's love. Nature is more loving than God, than this God of the Bible. So we know that this deity is arrogant as hell, right? We know this God is arrogant. So he fails on them. So far he hasn't failed on patience, failed on kindness, failed on jealousy, of not being jealous, failed on not being a braggart. He's failed on being prideful to the point of arrogance. All right, so he 5 down. He 5 fingers down now. So y'all kill for those who are keeping score. It does not act disgracefully. It doesn't act disgracefully. This one, where it does not act disgracefully, is more in reference to, I think normally people read this when they say it does not dishonors people. But we'll take it for what it says. It does not act disgracefully. Can you think of any time in the Bible where this deity acted disgracefully? Where it prompted people to go and be disgraceful? Grand Rising Michael, DGB. You never understood why people say you have to have the patience of Job. Job wasn't patient. That's why he's so-called God went in on him. Right, he wasn't. Well, they say that you have to have the patience of Job because when his friends came and they were like, Job, you know you did something wrong. You did something wrong. Job was like, no, we're just going to keep praising the Lord. We're just going to keep praising the Lord. We're just going to keep praising the Lord. You know, that kind of thing. God didn't do this. I have not sinned. God is still good. You know, his wife is like, you should curse God and die. So that's where they get, that's where my understanding of where they get that idea of having the patience of Job. Now, so it does not act disgraceful. There's this part, I think it's in Ezekiel. I think I could be wrong with where it's at, but it's talking about the daughters of Zion. And it's talking about how the daughters of Zion are walking around, you know, and he's like complaining. They all haughty. They got all their hair looking good. They got on all this good jewelry. They out here walking all sexy. You know, he's talking about it. He's like, you know what? Because they doing that, I'm going to make them bald headed. Now, of course, he says that the woman's hair is her crown, right? But I'm going to make them bald headed. I'm going to strip them down so that you can see their private parts. He acted out of being irritated by these women. He just goes off. Ain't one of these supposed to say God is not angry about anger? I don't see that one, but it's supposed to be in there. But he goes off on these women, and he gonna have stripped them butt naked in front of people. So, where's his honor? Where's his honor in there? There isn't it. It does not seek its own benefit. Do I even need to talk about that one? Build me a tent of meetings, and I need all this gold in it. I need gold on the hold the curtains together. I need these purple curtains. I need all this for my tent of meeting, for my place, my house. And I need animal sacrifice. Heck, no defective animals. I don't want no animals with defect, and no female animals either. Males with no defects. Don't bring me no bullshit. All right. He even said that he made man for his own glory. For his own glory. If that ain't for your own benefit, then what the? If he did not, and then he was, I regret making them, because man had became so evil. The evil that man became is that they weren't worshiping this deity. That he didn't have the carte blanche over everybody. Everybody wasn't just worshiping him. So I'm mad. I made everybody, but the Canaanites don't worship me, so they gotta die. The Amorites, the Hittites, the Jebusites, the Pebusites, they all gotta die because they don't worship me. Anybody who don't worship me gotta die. If you don't believe in me at the end of time, you gotta die. Because you ain't here for my benefit. So he loses again. He loses. He does not have this attribute. It does not provoke. Doesn't start shit. Doesn't provoke things to happen. Don't provoke people. He provoked shit out of Job. Job was minding his own business, but he provoked Job into Job's, what's up, dude? What's going on? And then goes off on him. Children of Israel sitting out there, and they went through this whole little ordeal of all these plagues and everything. Now they in the desert, and they like, all right, we in the desert now. What? Moses, the guy who led them out there, disappears for 40 days. They like, okay, well, what's up? You can't take people out of a situation, put them in a brand new situation, and then remove yourself from them. And then when they do something to try to take care of themselves, you get mad. I guess what one of these says, he's not angry, but you get mad and stuff. Who knows that God never brought anyone back to life, but sure did kill many. Right? Lazarus is the only person. But he doesn't provoke. He has Elijah say, hey, look, we're going to have a contest. You get your people up here for ball. I'm going to have my God. We're going to see who God wins just by burning the fire. But then he burnt the damn priest too. Right? You wanted to have this contest. Right? You're testing people. You know, when you provoke somebody, you're also testing. You're testing people. You send them through tests. Adam and Eve, I'm going to put this. Hey, there's something that I don't want y'all to have. So you know what? I'm not going to put it in your presence. Nope. Put it right in their presence. And what would Christians say? Well, he was testing them to see if they would be obedient. Why would you test them? Why? Why do you need to do that? You know, if I explain to when my kids were babies, if I explain to them that, hey, this is daddy's gun. So I don't want you touching daddy's gun because you might hurt yourself. Now I'm going to leave this gun on the table, loaded and everything, but don't you touch it. It's not going to be on safety. But I'm testing to see if you're going to be obedient. No. Why would I do that? Apparently, God hates dogs. Okay, I don't know that one. You have to explain that one. Love does not keep an account of wrong sufferings or wrongdoings. Hey, Eve, I know you ate from the apple. So now forever, all women will have to endure pain for childbirth. So all you women who endure pain of childbirth, that's your God keeping the account of keeping the account of a wrong suffer. Children will be punished for their third, fourth, and fifth generations. The sins of the father are passed down to the child. In Leviticus, you have to pray for the sins of iniquities of your ancestors because he's keeping account of your wrong sufferings. When is he not doing this? I don't like this version. Really. But when are these things happening? I want to know when he's not keeping account like this. Yeah, because I thought so. I thought one said love is not quick tempered. Because when they say love is not quick tempered, love is not angry. Yeah, so somebody just got them in different orders. Let's go back to where we was at. So we know he keeps track. He keeps track. Keeps track of all your wrongdoings. You know, you got to go through this judgment and see if your name is written in the book, according to this story. Because he's been keeping track. Because faith without works is dead. So you got to have some works. He's keeping tracks. Love does not rejoice in unrighteousness. You cannot claim that when you are the one who created the unrighteousness. You created the calamity. You created, some versions say, evil. And you said in the beginning that everything you created was good. You are rejoicing in the fact that you created these things. You cannot have celebratory holidays based on the killing of all the firstborn children in Egypt and all the plagues and all the kind of things that happened in Egypt. And if anybody wants to challenge me on that one, it's called Passover. You're celebrating the fact that your people got passed over from the killing of the firstborn by your angel of death or whatever, spirit of death, breath of death, your halitosis, whatever went through all of Egypt and killed all the firstborn, but skipped the bloody doors. And you're having a celebration for Passover for that. And your Jesus participated in that Passover. The whole, this is my body, take it and eat it. You cannibals. This is my blood, take it and drink it. You blood cult. So you celebrate unrighteousness. But rejoice in truth. I know I put this tree in the garden, Adam and Eve. And I know I told you that on the day that you eat it, and it uses the word yom. Yom means 24-hour day. There is nowhere in the Bible where yom does not mean 24-hour day. But in the day that you eat it, you will surely die. They did not die that day. And yet, he did not rejoice in them understanding the truth. Instead, they were punished. They were completely punished. It wasn't even one of those kind of punishments where you say, you know what? I know you realize that I didn't tell you, I was doing one of them parental things where I give you this big punishment, like, oh, if you do this, then this major thing is going to happen, even though I know it's not, But, you guys figured it out. Y'all showed some growth, some development, some initiative. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I didn't want you knowing this, what you know right now, but you do know right now. But, yeah, you showed me something. Nope. Not in the truth at all. And the fact that it says that I am, now this God never claims to be the one true God, right? He says over and over, I am the God of Israel. You know what? That's a whole video right there by itself. You know how the preachers be doing that? Oh, Lord, the word just hit me right there. I got a word for you. But that's a whole video by itself. This God never claims to be the one true God. All throughout the Old Testament. He is the God of Israel. He's always the God of Israel. The God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Moses. He's the God of Abraham, and Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. The God of Moses. He's the God. He's the God of Israel. This New Testament stuff that you start hearing, this one true God stuff. Just thought about that. The problem of evil pretty much debunks the Christian understanding of God, of the Bible. It certainly does. Since this God created evil, he can't be a good God. All good if he created evil, because that means evil is within himself. Love bears all things. So love takes on the weight of all things. That's what that's trying to get across. It covers all things. Love handles everything. That's a different variation of that. Hold on for a second. Right, protects. Love protects. Now, I don't think he protected all the children in Israel. I mean, in Egypt. The young ladies who were out there dancing, right? They out there dancing, and then them dudes from the tribe of Benjamin come up and kidnap them, and then rape them, and then make them into their wives. I don't think he was protecting those women. Hell, the majority of women in this book he don't protect. He wasn't protecting Dana when she was molested by old boy. He didn't protect her. Her brothers went back and massacred them jokers, but there was no protection. Where was the protection of her? Where was Dana's protection? In Judges, when the concubine and the man's daughter was thrown out to be gang molested, where was their protection? Oh, he protected the man's booty, but he didn't protect them girls. When the angels wanted to come out there and the Lot story, he blinded them and they escaped, but God didn't protect them. The angels did. Right. It says that he's jealous and not to worship any other but him. So that means there are more than one. Exactly. He admits. Love to me is a power that cancels the dark and hates. Dark or hate. Okay. And I say the number one power that can change the unchangeable. Right. But as far as protection, when did he protect? I mean, he showed that he didn't protect. He created the world, and then he said, "I want to destroy the world because I don't like it. Everybody ain't worshiping me because I only found one righteous person. That was Noah. So I'm gonna kill everybody and start over with Noah's family. All them babies, all them children. That's right, from Georgia. All them children that died during the flood. Where was their protection? Where was those children's protections against this deity? Didn't see it. Wasn't protecting these children. When they went and they desolated the city of Ai, where was the protection for all the children? He protected the prostitute in Jericho. Don't protect her. He protected Tamar when she dressed like a prostitute. He protected her. He loved them prostitutes. He protected them prostitutes, but he didn't protect those other people. When those kids were calling old boy Baldy, and he sent 2 bears to kill those kids, where was their protection? Exactly, sackcloth. People need protection from this guy. So he does not protect. Love always trusts. If this deity actually trusted his creation, then he would trust that his creation would find him within it without it having to force it upon you. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I never force my kids to love me. You gonna love me. No. I created a house for them, created a life for them, a lifestyle for them, protected them, try to guide them, but I can't force them to love me. Right? You can't force anybody to love you. But love is allowing them, trusting that if you demonstrate what would get you love, they would love you, and you just trust it. If you don't get it, then you just don't get it. Okay. But when you force love, Is that love? No, it's fear. Yeah, he could have just deleted everybody instead of them going through all that suffering. Yep. Could have just deleted everybody, started over. Didn't he have to start with Noah and them? Could have started over with humanity, period, with a brand new garden, exactly. But this guy's only way of garnishing love from people is to force them through fear. Right? It's forced through fear. And it coincides with the next one, love always hope. Love always have hope. He big time fell on this one, on the hope. Actually, the last three, he's going to be some big fails. All right. And exactly, Jeremy. People will say that this deity sent Jesus because he had hope for the world. Okay, why you sent Jesus so late? You had plenty of time that you could have sent Jesus. When Cain when there was enough people for Cain to build a city for, you could have sent Jesus then. Right? Said God moves like Ike Turner. Eat the cake, humans. Eat the cake. But Jesus is not the hope because Jesus came way too damn late. Hundreds of millions of people died before Jesus ever came around. Hundreds of trillions of people died and are still dying and have never heard of your Jesus. So Jesus is not this hope. Plus, Jesus said, I came to cast fire upon the world. That does not sound like hope. But hope, and if you're God, you're eternal, you're everlasting. How do you have hope when there is a point where you give up on people and they go to hell? How is there hope? Like Christians should be the biggest people who believe in reincarnation because they believe that their God that is love and love has this hope and this hope is eternal. Then they should believe in reincarnation, that this God would never cast you into a lake of fire or cast you into this hell. He would have never even cast his original children, the angels, into this lake of fire. That there will be a hope for them, that a process. A lot of people didn't like the little TV show Lucifer, but if you actually watch the show Lucifer and think about what's going on in the big picture, it is this God still having hope for Lucifer and all the demons that they would come to realize and come back to him. Like that's literally what the show is really about, is them coming back, is a redemption for Lucifer and the demons. Right? Didi said that was a favorite show, but did you catch that, Didi? That if you look at all the seasons in its totality, it's the story of Lucifer being and the demons being redeemed. This God still having hope for Lucifer and the demons. If Christians really believed in this, that this God had hope, everlasting, there will be no hell. That there will be they believe in reincarnation. That you get as many, that this guy is going to give you as many, because he's supposed to be patient, even though we've shown he's not patient. And this is right, these next two kind of go right into the same portion of that. Love always perseveres, love never fails. If love always perseveres and love never fails, there would be no one in hell. There would be no hell. If love always perseveres and love never fails, then there would have never been a revolt in heaven. If love always prevails and it never fails, then there would not have been any other deities created. No one would worship any other deity. Because we're talking about on the God level, not the human level, the God level. You have love always. But it obviously fails. People turn away from this God every day. Tens of thousands of people walk away from this religion just in the United States every year, because this God loves fails. It does not persevere. Lucifer and Jesus are the same. Grand Rising Debbie, same kid. Lucifer is not a person. It's not a person nor a being. Lucifer is the planet Venus. Lucifer was his favorite son. That's nowhere in the Bible. Lucifer was not his favorite son. Um, Lucifer is not in the Bible, period, as far as an angel. So we when we're as deconstructionists, we have to realize these things that we think are biblical and that Christians accept, but they're not. When you look at the book of Enoch, he's not. That's not Lucifer. You know, the angel that was the prettiest little motherfucker and all that kind of stuff, that's not Lucifer. Lucifer is the planet Venus. It's an astronomical event. Right. Lucifer means morning light. The planet Venus is the brightest thing in the sky right where the sun is going to rise every morning. And it stays low in the sky as it moves across the sky throughout the night. So I just want to, we need to be armed with that kind of thing when we're out here dealing with these people, to show that their religion is even more made up than they realize how made up it is. Isn't God all by himself? Supposed to be. But he got Jesus on the right side, on his right hand. I was always taught that coming of God is love. But when I got older, I actually read the book and was like, damn, my misunderstanding of true love is all. Right, that's what we just went through. And actually, that was the last part. If anybody got any other aspects of that, of how this God, so let's look at it. Where did this God succeed? Love is not envious, but we show he's envious. We show love is not boastful. We show he's boastful. Love is not proud or arrogant. We show that he's arrogant. Love does not dishonor others. He's dishonored them women by shaving their heads and letting their pum pum be out free. So he dishonors others. Love is not self-seeking. Everything about this guy, build me altars, give me the firstborn of this, and they can't have no defect. The first 4 commandments. It is not easily angered. Bullshit. This guy gets angered just like that on a quick snip. It does not keep records of wrongdoing. We know that it keeps records down to the 3rd, 4th, 5th generations, and women are still being held accountable for Eve even today. Love does not delight in evil. You created the evil. You do delight in the genocides and the killing and the foreskins. We didn't talk about the foreskins. You delight in that. You was ready to kill Moses if you didn't get that foreskin. But rejoices in truth. Anytime that there is truth, when the truth was that Adam and Eve did not die on that day, he did not rejoice in the truth of it all, nor in the truth of who he is himself, since he always says that he is jealous. Love always protect. We know he didn't protect a whole bunch of people that died in the flood, firstborn in Egypt, women who are raped, foreigners who are conquered and made into slaves. He does not always protect. Always trust. No, he sets up tests all the time to test people instead of allowing them to develop naturally into his love. Always hopes, always perseveres, and never fails. The whole concept of hell takes all of that away. So this dude is like O for everything. O for everything. Didn't he make Ezekiel eat shit? I don't know. That's the what? I don't think I've ever heard of that. If I skipped that one time when I was reading it, that's some shit. Did God force Ezekiel to eat waste? Um, let's see. Ezekiel 4:12 through 17. You must make your bread each day. You must get a dry human dung and burn it. Then you must cook the bread over this burning dung. You must eat this bread in front of the people. When the Lord said, this will show that the family of Israel will eat unclean bread in foreign countries, and that I am the one who forced them to leave Israel and go to those countries. Then God damn. Then I said, oh Lord, oh, but God, oh Lord, I have never eaten any unclean food. I have never eaten meat from an animal that has died of disease, or I have never eaten unclean meat. He's never eaten none of the bad meat. Okay, you never eat it, never eat it, never eat it. Then God said to me, very well, very well. I will let you use dry cow dung to eat your bread. You don't have to use dry human dung. Then God says, son of man, I am destroying Jerusalem's supply of bread. Interesting. He called Ezekiel son of man. I am people have only little bread to eat. They will be very worried about the food supply, and they will have only the little water to drink. Every time they take a drink, they will feel more afraid. That is because there will not be enough food and water for everyone. They will be terrified, and they will watch others wasting of their sin. So exactly, sackcloth, close enough. Where's that verse found, Denise? That is Ezekiel chapter 4:12 through 17. Now, I don't know if any of y'all are grill masters, but I consider myself pretty decent on the grill. But I'm a master at understanding the science of the grill. Some people don't use charcoal, they use gas. Because, of course, when you burn charcoal, in order that charcoal flavoring, the ashes, does get into the food, the burning ashes. So when you eat, you got some charcoal in your food. So whether you're burning human dried shit or animal dried shit, you got some dried shit in your food. It's just like I remember reading this thing. It says that, and I hate to gross y'all out, but it doesn't matter how well you try to clean your bathroom, that to a certain degree, there's certain levels of fecal matter that is in the air of every bathroom, period. Right? So the idea of not eating in the bathroom is from the fact that there is fecal matter in the air of every bathroom, period. Right? I just had to do that. But that is dishonorable as hell. Thank you for that one. Who said that? Shit. Who said that? Who said that? I think I know who said it. That was some straight bullshit. This guy reminded me of the LWA and the ATR. I don't know what that means. Lucifer's sign. Oh, Lord. Here y'all go. Lucifer's sign the Masons use is just the way your vision works. It's what brings light to you through your eyes, and within, so and out, just as the star. Lucifer ain't got nothing to do with masonry, dude. Like, I talk about Christianity because I used to be a Christian. I don't talk a whole lot about Hinduism or Buddhism because I don't know the intricacies of it. I've studied it, but I studied it from those people. Stop talking about masonry. Y'all ain't never been one. And just throwing stuff on there that other people said. Come on. Let's be fully enlightened. He loves the smell of burning flesh. Yes, he does. That sweet aroma. That sweet, sweet aroma. Activated charcoal is good detox. Yeah, but not no shit. Prehistoric shit is in the air. I'm gonna give you that one. I'm gonna give you that one. But I mean, I was thinking like, I mean, I know that, okay, so to be in all fairness, are there instances where this deity shows some of those attributes? Yes, but you're God, right? And here's the thing of even when you show some of those attributes, a spousal abuser shows attributes of love. They do. Let's be honest. If we gonna, y'all know how I am. I want to be honest and real about everything. A person who's a spouse abuse does show love to the person he's abusing. But he doesn't show agape love, doesn't show true love. He shows a very, very, and I say he, but it can be a she. They show a very, very conditional love, is what they're demonstrating. This deity shows a very, very conditional love. I will love you as long as you keep my statutes. And if you don't, but this is where he becomes an abuser. But if you don't keep my statutes, I'm gonna punish the hell out of you. And how do you can't jive that? That doesn't work. It's like you got the guy who's in prison. He murdered somebody's child, but yet he loves his child. Like God, this God also reminds me of that. It's okay for me to go and murder my neighbor, which means that I'm murdering someone else's child, but then don't mess with my children because I love my children. And then the fits of anger. I want you to think about this for a second. I really want y'all to think about this. When you look at this Exodus story, right? That whole deal of Genesis going into Exodus, the end of Genesis. Joseph goes into Egypt. He does the 7 years of famine, 7 years of feast, 7 years of famine. It is during the famine time that the children of Israel come and they live in Egypt. They go up into the northern part of Egypt, up in Goshen, I believe, and they are in charge of all the king's cattle and all that sort of thing. He basically uses nepotism to make sure that his family is taken care of. Joseph then dies. Well, the next pharaohs and the next pharaoh, they don't respect Joseph, don't know Joseph, so they taking their stuff back. They don't like these Jewish people. And then over some time, these Jewish people become slaves in Egypt. This deity has not been paying attention to these people, and they've just been enslaved, right? They didn't do anything wrong other than try to survive a famine. And when they tried to survive a famine, they just lived in a different part of town or a different state or a different city or a different country. So they moved. And then over time, they acclimated to that society. And then they became slaves, but they were slaves for a while. And this guy ain't paid them no attention. It had nothing to do with them. And then all of a sudden, he's paying attention to them. That is like the guy or the woman who has a spouse and you come home and you don't talk to them. You don't deal with them. You just go to work, you come home, you sleep, you eat, you shit. You go to work, you come home, you sleep, you eat, you shit. Repeat. And then you want to get mad at them when they don't believe you, when they don't trust you, when they don't want to be around, when they're like questioning what's going on. You got us out here in this desert only to kill us. We was better off in Egypt. Yeah. Why should we trust this guy who ain't paid us no attention in a century? This is not a loving God. This is an abuser. He expects you to love him even when he's not paying you any attention. He expects you to love him when you ain't did shit. All right, Hebrew Israelites always claim that the transatlantic slave trade is because the children of Israel were disobedient to this God. And then he sentenced them to 400 years of slavery. I mean, it's never happened, but he sentenced them to 400 years of slavery. It wasn't the transatlantic slave trade. But you would sentence people to 400 years of slavery for what somebody way back then did. That's not love. And you're supposed to be God. Loyalty, love, that's the Bible is about the Satan God and our hell realm, which explains why there is so much evil amongst humans. Grand Rising Street, glad to see you. Satan and Lucifer. Oh, see, I should have been on the show yesterday. Satan, Lucifer, the serpent, they're not the devil. They're not. Those are not the same beings. That's what we talked about yesterday. They are not the same beings. Grand Rising, Brian. These were incorporated and made into the same beings by the Catholic Church because people were questioning these different evil entities. Right? Satan, which is actually pronounced Satan, which is a Sumerian word. The Sumerian language is not Semitic, so it doesn't translate into the Semitic languages. The Akkadians tried, and they translated it to mean the Satan as the adversary. Well, I mean, not an adversary initially, but a more like a prosecutor, a person who. So if you ever go to court, inside the court, the prosecutor is second tier to the judge, right? The judge is Anu. The Satan was Enlil. Enlil was the administrator of the earth. So like in a court of law, the prosecutor is the administrator within the courtroom when the judge is not there. And then even when the judge comes in, the prosecutor is still administrating with the people. Like you go to traffic court, he's still administrating everything. So it's an administrator. The Hebrews later on changed that to adversary. But this adversary is in heaven with God when the adversary is not supposed to be there. The reason why there is evil is because there is good. The law of polarity is very basic. You cannot have one without the other, essentially. If there is no evil, there can be no good. If there is no good, there can be no evil. They both exist on the same plane. And let's say we're calling that plane is morality. So morality, good morality, bad morality. So good morality, evil morality. And then there are a million different degrees in between. So the reason why there's evil against humans, evil in the universe, period, no matter what level of consciousness you ever ascend to, there will be evil because there cannot be good without it. It's just the law of polarity. It's just the law of the universe. It's how it functions. How did me describing just the esoteric meaning of Lucifer's sign that just means the works of vision, yet you off to think I'm trying to bash on Masons? Be fully enlightened, okay, Coach? No, you were saying that Masons. Wait, what did you say? Because maybe I read you wrong. Lucifer's sign, the Masons use. Masons don't use any sign of Lucifer, is what I'm saying. And maybe I'm just not understanding how you're expressing that. But the Lucifer sign the Masons use, what's the Lucifer sign? How about, let's start there. He is just a star. Okay. Just as he is a star. He's a planet, really. They thought he was a star, though, I would guess. So what's the sign? Maybe let's go there, and so that I can maybe understand what you mean. The sigil of Lucifer comes from the Gregorian there, not from the Freemason. Yeah. What is the Lucifer sigil? That's I'm curious. Yeah, y'all. I've never seen the Lucifer sigil. Well, at least I don't. Nothing that I identify as that. I get to learn something. What is the Lucifer sigil? The seal of Satan. We don't use that. That's not in Masonry. If that's what you're talking about. Look it up real quick. I actually have it tattooed on my back. Is that right, Crystal? Well, that was the first thing that popped up on Amazon for a Lucifer sigil. Let's go to images. Yeah, this sigil is nowhere in Masonry. That sigil is not in Masonry at all. I can tell you that one because I am one, and I'm a 32nd, and that's not in Masonry. But it's not in Masonry, Quran. In Hebrew, Satanin is the generic noun meaning the accuser, the adversary, basically meaning the abstract or the opposite, the opposed. Yeah. And that's all. That's why they call him the accuser up there with the Job story. All right, where we at? Where we at? Eternal resembles an eye. Balance is what's needed to help things flow and work together, and with the other laws of the universe, which includes other opposites. Yeah, you gotta have opposites. You gotta have balance. There's balance in the universe. Period. There's always balance. Yep, that's just how the vision worked. Okay, we agreed to disagree again. Well, we can't agree to disagree on the fact that Masons don't use it because unless you are a Mason that is above my degree, and I actually know Masons who are above my degree, and we talked about that. There's nothing Luciferian in it at all. But unless you are a Mason above mine, no. But as far as I don't understand what you mean when you keep talking about vision, though. Right. The other law is cause and effect, my most favorite law. All right. Now, Yes, in masonry, you are to be enlightened. You are to receive enlightenment. Uh, Now, are you going to say that everybody who seeks enlightenment is Luciferian? Because then that would encompass every philosophy. That would encompass education, period. Going to school. You go to school to be enlightened. Every That'll be Neoplatonism, Nietzsche, everybody. I don't know. There's actually a balance given entropy. Entropy. There's a balance. The universe always is going to balance itself out. That's just nature. Nature always balances itself out. The universe is going to figure out a balance. Man is killing the earth. One day the earth going to take its balance back, and it's going to kill man. Some geologists think that we've been through 5 extinction events already on this planet. The earth gonna come back into balance. Whether they gotta freeze us out, burn us out, it go come back into balance. I know what Joe is talking about there, but that's not actually what inspired the sigil occultist here. Crystal's an occultist. Shit, I like to talk about that. The honor Lucifer just to be enlightened about the truth and according to how nature works, man-made religion, etc. I never did call them Luciferians though. No, you didn't call them Luciferians. It's just that you said that it's something that we use and it's just not. That's all. But we do talk about being enlightened. There's nothing wrong with being enlightened. I actually don't have, if somebody did say that I was Luciferian, it wouldn't bother me because I understand what the Greek term Lucifer means, the light bringer, right? It is the one, it is the what they thought was a star that brings the light, the sunlight. And the sunlight gives life. It illuminates everything. So if somebody called me a Luciferian or what's the group? Illuminatist, I'd be like, really? Thank you. I appreciate it. Especially if I can actually join the Illuminati, I would really appreciate that. Since their job, Adam Weishaupt's original intention of the Illuminati was to infiltrate all forms of society and tell everybody the information, enlighten the people by telling people the truth of everything. But of course, the state and the church was not going to have that. So I don't mind. I'd be a Luciferian all day and Illuminatist all day long. Wouldn't bother me at all because I know what it really means. But I think I understand what you're saying, Joel. So I think we are, you know, we're on the right, we're on the same kind of thought process, just expressing it differently. I mean, physically speaking, the universe is slowly going to die, called the heat death, right, of the universe, thus the entropy, thus the imbalance. But is that the imbalance? That's not an imbalance. If it expands, it goes through that, and then it'll go through a process of death, of decay, and then it'll start over. That's the whole, what is that, the singularity? It continues to happen over and over again for quadrillions of years of how we look at years. The earth is a long time, but humans just certainly pass away, yes. The Earth gonna die one day. Couple what, about 3 billion years, the Earth won't be in a habitable zone from the sun anymore. I think it's like 3 billion years from now. So let's say by some huge freaking miracle, our version of humanity, which would be much different because adaptation, we won't even look like this. But our version of humanity, you better not come on my porch, of humanity is still around. I don't like cats. They got to move. Even though they will have adapted a lot, Earth won't be in the habitable zone no more. But at some point, Earth won't be habitable for, and it'll be scorched, burned, dry, no water, nothing. Whenever people talk about woke, I equate it to enlightenment in all things. What are your feelings about Gnosticism? Oh, I love Gnosticism to a certain degree until they get into the whole God, God, Jesus thing. Gnosticism, as far as just understand that through knowledge is how we enlighten ourselves, how we gain that. I am 100% in agreement with them, but as soon as they incorporate the whole deities and worshiping, then that's when they lose me. I hate the fact that they've taken the term woke and have used it for things that it doesn't apply to. Woke was meant for the Black people who were being oppressed to wake up to the bullshit that was creating and causing their oppression and creating their own self-induced oppression. It wasn't meant for everybody. It wasn't meant for the alphabet people. It wasn't meant for any of those other groups. It was just meant for, us. And then it's co-opted. It got co-opted. I don't like that. So, but it means staying conscious of what's going on with Black people. And really, if you look into Satanism, it makes a lot of sense. Depends on which variation of Satanism. As long as it's the one that just says, do what thou wilt, as long as you ain't taking away anybody else's ability of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, I'm cool with it. Because the Satan is just the administrator. Yeah. There's no limit of punishment if someone disrespects you. I am a little bit that kind of way. I do believe in 7 times whatever you did. I'm sorry. If somebody comes and let's say you mess with one of my children, you're not going to jail. You're not going to jail. You can cancel jail. And you can cancel a short death. You can cancel that. No. You mess with my kids, especially my girls, you gonna get it. You gonna get something that you ain't never thought could ever happen to you. You're gonna be praying for a bullet. You don't think the earth ever dies? We just do. It's Shiva at work. Shiva work. You talking about Shiva like the Lord Shiva? I like me some Lord Shiva. There's a Joel. If you was ever here in Atlanta, I would take you to this temple that's up the street. This Hindu temple that's up the street. If you like Shiva, you like that temple. And the architecture is amazing. Good God, the architecture is amazing. Yep, the earth will be swallowed whole when it becomes a red giant. It's gonna move. Yeah, it'd be impossible for anybody to know if it starts over, but if you just look at the science of it, how the universe expands and then it contracts. But we can even see some of that happening in smaller parts of the universe where black holes are a demonstration of that singularity of contraction. And at some point, too much energy will build up in the singularity and it will explode out, which is where we get all our supernova, the ideas where we get our supernovas and all these sort of things. I mean, I know supernovas come from the exploding suns as well. But an imploding star can create a black hole, the density, and then at some point it will be too much energy and it has to release it. When it releases it, then there's going to be creation again. It's going to create galaxies and stars and all that stuff. So it's a viable hypothesis, a viable theory. Can y'all hear that cat? I'm allergic to cats. I'm over here nodding so much. Really like what you have to say. Shit, Crystal, I'm curious as to your occult. Shit, I'll bring you on here so you can tell me about it. If you like. No, I don't do no Aleister Crowley. Yeah. Aleister Crowley, he was man, I can't get down with him. He was like okay at first, but then he went, he went over the side of the cliff. The only evil is ignorance. Evil, boy, ignorance is such an evil thing. Willful ignorance. I mean, let's throw some willful ignorance on top of that, actually, because if a person just don't know, a person just don't know. But that willful ignorance, can we throw that on there, Joel, and be in sync with each other? That willful ignorance, because if you just don't know, you just don't know. But that willful ignorance, ooh. Now, there are different sects of Gnosticism. I haven't really talked to many Gnostics. I've read about a bunch of them. The only Gnostics I actually ever talked to is when I was in Egypt, that I've talked to like face to face. But there are different variations of them as well. So yeah, you heard that damn cat. Tell you I'm allergic to him. Y'all got this damn microphone pick up too much, because like when y'all was hearing the birds that one time, them birds was like way out there somewhere. Okay, we'll have your own one time, Crystal, when you're not having COVID. They're gonna lock y'all down around February, right? Around February, y'all gonna get locked down. I mean, that's me too, but I'm just saying. That's the projection. Ooh, I can do like the video. Did y'all see my video yesterday with the lady who made her little prophecies, which were really just easy things to project? To predict, rather. I'm predicting that in 2024, another round of COVID lockdowns will occur. God has told me so. Mark this day, October 6th, which I thought it was October 7th. October 6th, that God is has told me that y'all, that COVID gonna have another round, and this one's gonna be worse than the other one before. That those who got the vaccines are gonna be attacked more so than anybody else, and other preconditions are going to cause people to die. 2024, early 2024 prophecy, just like that lady, because all signs are pointing to it. I'm just questioning the contraction part. Granted, there are two great hypotheses in the Great Ripple Expansion and the Great Crunch. The only reason, because they said the measurements are showing that the expansion is slowing down, so that's why they think it's slowing down. And then gravity is like every freaking where, so that's why I think it's going to contract back in. but only because it's slowing down. If it wasn't slowing down, they probably wouldn't have that theory yet. If it wasn't slowing down, the theory would probably be that if it was still speeding up and it was an early universe, probably wouldn't even have that theory, or that theory would be considered pseudo. Too often we calculate according to how man defines things without the slightest humility as to say, hey, wait a minute, we are talking about a perfect God who created love. Maybe it's our definition of understanding that is flawed. Maybe our concerns are irrelevant to a cosmic scale of priority, and we are trying to suggest that God should be as we want a God to be in our small minds and worlds. There are literally grown men and women who curse God when they don't beat the red light. You know, you make a very valid point, Saul Vasquez. But there's a problem with your point. The only reason that you say that it is a perfect God is because man wrote in the book that he's a perfect God. The aspects and attributes of this God, the behavior of this God, are written by man. And supposedly these men also claim to be inspired by God. So although you can make a point and say that we are finite in our mindset, so how can we judge the infinite or even understand the infinite? I would agree with you on that. But the Bible is claiming to understand and define the undefinable and the ununderstandable. The non-understandable. It's claiming to be able to do that. Therefore, it invalidates itself and makes itself irrelevant. The Bible would be much better if it wrote itself like the Tao does. The Tao first starts out saying that the way that can be named is no longer the way. The way that can be, that the way is unknowable and undefinable. So it goes ahead and get it out of the way, saying that no matter what is written in this book, it is in no way the full concept of a creator. And never can it ever be. The Kabbalion states the same, that the all is unknowable and undefinable. But because your book defines God, says that it knows God, it literally said that in John 1, didn't it? It said that in John 1, that in order to know God, you have to know love, because God is love. If you do not love your neighbors, then you cannot know God. So therefore, the book itself contradicts itself in that idea of what you're saying. It is Christian doctrine that tries to say that God is perfect, yet demonstrates quite often it is not. This God regrets making man imperfection, but yet said that everything it made was good. That's an imperfection, and that's a contradiction. This God made man, said man was good on the sixth day, that what he made was good on the sixth day. But yet the children that Cain wound up being with were from that creation of man. And those children were the ones that had that line had to be completely destroyed by this God. This God is imperfect. Does not know what's going to happen, but it says that that it knows what's going to happen. It's not a perfect God. You can't claim love. This God is a jealous God. What if you were the only God there is? What is there to be jealous of? No, sir. Good statement if you're trying to keep this religion. But when you think about it without the predetermined landing spot, the statement doesn't make sense. It doesn't work, rather. Crowley, about the only thing I like about him is the idea that all deities and spirits come from within ourselves. Yep. Willful ignorance is banality. I don't know that word. What the hell is that word? You trying to make up words on me? Yeah, banality. Ooh. Banality. The fact or condition of being banal. Unoriginality. This really still ain't telling me what the hell. I'm still the fact of being banal. What the hell is banal? The lack in originality as to be obvious and boring. Oh, oh, look at Christians teaching us new words today, y'all. The word of the day is by now. So lacking in originality as to obvious and boring. Let's use it in a sentence. Songs with a banal repeated word, or how they keep using the same goddamn rhythms over and over again. The Bible is essentially filled with banality. We learned a new word today. At least I did. Anybody else learn a new word today? Anybody else other than that? Christian dropping new words on us. Also, after the sun, nova will be mixing with the Andromeda galaxy, which will form one giant new galaxy. Out of chaos comes rebirth. Actually, you know what? Me and Angelina went to this event that I really wanted to. Why did these people bring these small children, which irritate the shit out of me? We went to this event at the Fernbank Science Center, and they would basically demonstrate it. They were showing how our galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy in like billions of years from now will actually collide, and they showed how they are seeing galaxies that are merging. Yeah, but that was a pretty interesting. I never knew that until I went there that our galaxy and Andromeda galaxy are moving towards each other, and that'll be one big new ass galaxy. And of course, there's going to be a lot of chaos. Oh, you believe it went to a party with 7 people and 7 people got it? Shaking my head, don't know what you're shaking it for. Probably something earlier because y'all know I am way behind. Those who developed asthma last time will have, yeah. Won't he do it? Your new rabbit hole, Al Azif. I don't know who that is. Al Azif Lovecraft. Who is Al Azif? Grand Rising Texas Goddess. Welcome to the show. Source, the universe just is. Exactly. It just is. I don't believe that there's this deity that's Geppettoing everything that's going on. It just is. It just exists. And there's polarity. There are the laws of the universe. Simple. All right. How can anybody think this God is perfect when he allows the molesting of children and all these other things that go on in this planet, on this world? Okay. You're talking to other people. Teresa, I'm going to ask you to not come on here and advertise, or if you want to contribute to the conversation, sure. But when you're coming on here to advertise without my permission, if this was something that you wanted to do, then you could have asked me, and we could have done a show, a live, where if people wanted you to do readings, you could have, but don't just come on the live and just do that. Lovecraft's supposed to be a fictional magic book. I like that. I finally saw Lovecraft not too long, a year ago. I like that show. I guess it was about a year ago. All right, I'm almost caught up. Say that we are slow is part of the rest expansion that it slows doesn't because of some law that shows it's expanding spherically, right? Expanding spherically. The infrared shows that what slows the expanding is the dark matter web that tends to use the heavy elements that are forming these masses of different things like galaxies that make up the formation of matter. I'm with you. And if we're expanding, then should we not, at some point when it stops expanding, gravity pulls it all back in? I have the Necronomicon, Clautu Varata Nectu. I knew that. All right, I'll do it. I'll look into it. It is what it is. Religious people have need of a puppet master. Definitely agree. Are you familiar with calls himself Morgu? Yes. If you're talking to me, yes. Morgu. That's my guy there. I like him. What does he call his thing? The Hyperion, something like that. I like Morgu. He will. I mean, I don't always agree with him, but he has some. But most of the time, I do. Most of the time, I do. What's fictional? The Necronomicon. It sure is. Yeah, Lovecraft it was a good show. I thought that they was going to show how. No, I can't remember if they show how we are moving like that, but I've seen other examples of it, and yeah, it's pretty cool how we move through the universe. Mm-hmm. Hyperion, yeah, I like him. James 5:16 is the only thing we need from the Bible. Let's see what that is. Let's see what James, what do you say? James 15:5. 5 and 16. Therefore, confess your sins to one another and pray for one another so that you might be healed. The effective prayer of a righteous man can accomplish much. Confess your sins to one another? Yes. Pray for one another. Who we praying to? That's the problem with that part. Who we praying to? Unless we're praying to the God and Goddess within ourselves. I would agree. But confessing our sins to one another, loving one another, taking care of one another, that is the only thing that we need. Universe expanding in a sphere, just like an explosion was expanding in spheres. There's not just a third dimensional plane or a two plane existence here. There's this fourth and fifth, this fourth dimensional. You can go up, down. Yeah, he's the guy with the long blonde hair. Debbie, pale kind of guy. Oh, Krista already answered that. Everyone, are you having life issues? And we support. Book your session with Coach Friends today. I had a wonderful session with him yesterday. Thank you, Texas Goddess. I appreciate that. Appreciate that. We did have a really good session. I enjoyed the session yesterday. I'm glad that you. I'm gonna be Christian. I'm glad that you were blessed in this session. Yeah, being a fan, and that's how I started watching you. Oh, really? Okay. Both have intelligent conversation and not only information, but a place of equal, like-minded group of people. Yeah. Yeah, I think I started following him probably about 4 years ago when I first saw him. And I was like, who's this weird looking guy? But I was like, oh, he dope. He got some good info. Thank you, Curious One. That's what we do. That's why, like, I actually struggled in deciding to do this show today because if you really think about it, most people's faith hinges on this idea that God is love. right? And he's this perfect love. But when you actually look at how the Bible, which is inspired by this God, defines love, you find that this God is completely lacking in those attributes, or at best goes is wishy-washy. So uh, and like, let's say if I was working with someone who's deconstructing, this is one of the primary things I know I have to do with them, is to take them through this process of understanding this God is not love. This God is, it's easy for us to just say he's selfish and say he's genocidal and these sorts of things, and we can see those demonstrated. And of course, Christians try to find a rationale for each one of them. But then when you compare it to the God is love part, it's like, no, well, he's not fitting that bill. And then oftentimes they say, but Jesus is actually talking about it, supersedes that, and it's talking about a different God, right? Even for the Gnostic, when they say he's talking about a different God. But you cannot have Jesus as a son of God unless, so I then ask, okay, so Jesus is the son of God. What God is he the son of? He's the son of the Old Testament God, the creator God, according to this Bible. So then, therefore, he's the son of this God that is all throughout the Old Testament. Therefore, and if he is that God, then it invalidates Jesus as well. You can even say that the God of the Bible is psychotic. Oh, of course. Incredibly psychotic. This God would be held under war. He'd go to the Hague and be tried as a war criminal. And the majority of his followers would be too. If you really think about Moses is David Koresh. He's Jim Jones. He's Joseph Smith. And people follow him even though he is genociding the shit out of people. Like, Moses leads his people to many genocides and call it and says that God told him to. When you look at, when we went through Exodus and we just finished Leviticus, we do that on Tuesdays. The Lord God told Moses to say to the Israelites, that's how a lot of it starts, or at the end of them, this is what the Lord God told Moses to say to the Israelites. This is the same way as when people say, God told me to tell you. And look at all the murder, the destruction, the rules, the laws, the stonings, the praise that you're giving to this deity, and the punishments if you don't do whatever. He was an occult leader. I've been deconstructing and walking away. All of my friends and family, I'm lost. Yeah, of course, your friends and family are going to call you lost. But like I said, I don't argue faith with people. But if I was pushed to argue the faith, then they cannot justify how this God doesn't fit into what is love. You can't justify that. And if they say that First Corinthians, yes, that was written by Paul, but it was written by Paul, inspired by God. This is what your God is saying love is. Does your God qualify for what this love is? And let me demonstrate how he does not. And I always ask them, how do you define patience? How do you define jealousy? How do you define arrogance? And then from their definition, well, he was arrogant here. He was jealous here. He tells you over and over he's jealous. He tells you, he shows you, he demonstrates and tells you throughout this entire book. He believes it is a mathematical universe, but does believe source shattered, and all this is source remembering itself, but through everything. And when it completely comes back together collectively, with everything, source will be shattered again, like it's been doing. Who is the he? You talking about me or Morgan? Morgan. That would be, that's somewhat kind of like what the Kabbalion says in that. But it talks about how everything is a thought of God, the mental projections of the all. How do you answer people that say the Bible is true because things described in the book, like Revelation, microchips, is coming true? They're not. I will point out to them that the microchip, unless it's in the middle of your forehead, is not what Revelation was talking about as far as the mark of the beast. And the mark of the beast was your ability to buy and trade, right? This was actually something that was done in Roman law back in those days, where if you didn't have a certain stamp, then you weren't allowed to start a business and own a business to buy, sell, and trade. This wasn't something that was done for the populace of the people, but all those other things that are supposed to be happening have not happened, nor are they happening in the order to which they're supposed to happen. Where's all the waters turning into blood? So I start pointing out all the other things. They like to grab the things that are easy, wars and rumors of wars. Okay, where's the rivers turning into blood? Where's the oceans turning into blood? Where's the asteroid of Wormwood? Where's 1/3 of the population dying because the 4 angels descended on the banks of the Euphrates? When is the Euphrates haven't dried all the way up? The Antichrist has not shown himself and took a head injury and died and rose up in 3 days and created one world religion. And so all those other ones that they know have not happened and have not ever happened and haven't happened in order, I bring those to bear. Really, Denise? God is good all the time. All the time, God is good. I've never seen anybody say, where did you get that, Quran, about it being geometrically flat? Accelerating and decelerating from different force and sources. I would say there's a push and pull from gravity and energy. I forgot what energy, the explosive energy that pushes out. I love you so much. I created a place called hell to torture you forever and ever if you don't choose me with the supposed free will I gave you. Definitely not love. Exactly. Because love is hopeful and love is never fails. Um, and love always wins. So how can there be a hell if love always wins? If there's always perseverance, how can there be one? Oh, you cited that from Wikipedia? Okay. All the amazing things that the universe is and creation of it, of source and God would be, but the universe is amazing. I'm telling you, when we was at Fernbank, they put the telescope on Saturn. Oh my damn, that telescope is bad. It wasn't fuzzy, nothing. That thing was crystal clear. I'm talking crystal clear. I had to ask the guy how much would it cost to build a telescope like this, because I want that telescope. And amazingly, he said it'll cost you in around like $20,000 to $30,000 to have this telescope. And this is one of them big ass, the big dome telescopes. I want one because Saturn was. I mean, when I tell you that thing was clear as a bell, it was clear. And if you take a little bit more time, you can almost make out some of the moons of Saturn. But the universe is an amazing thing. I think we're a simulation in the mind of the all. Just as a dream, just like last night, the dreams that I had were a simulation in my mind. I don't believe in the Bible. I'm just saying what they might say. Like, for instance, they talk about the mark on the right hand, which some are equating with the microchip in hand. Yeah, when they start lowjacking people, I remember I was living in Florida when that was happening, when I first heard of that. And they were lowjacking these kids. And some of the parents were choosing to put it in their right hand, but they would put it, there's a lot of other things that has to happen before the mark of the beast. You have to have the Antichrist first. And the Antichrist has to be running the world first before the mark of the beast, because the Antichrist is supposed to worship in the mark of the beast. So how can any of these things be? So that's how I argue that point, is that it has to be in order. And this God does not like chaos, but prefers order. So it's giving you an order, but it's not following. I think it was maybe 3 days ago that we did the live about Revelations, and how Revelations, I don't know if that was a live or if I did a regular video, but a couple days ago, this week, we broke that down, and how this stuff is not happening in the way that it's supposed to happen. And that would be the argument against it. You can claim they used to say social security number was a mark of the beast. But that was like, and it's so isolated. Oh, they're doing a social security number. Only in America. So how is that the mark of the beast? It's in one country. Grand Rising Raquel. Before I forget, a while back, we all were talking about dementia and Alzheimer's. Lion's mane mushroom. There is a bunch of new studies that are very promising. Oh, I do remember that conversation. Yes, because I told you there is only one disease that I really fear. It's dementia and Alzheimer. That's why I will always read, study, and try to do it, and do as much math in my head. Because that shit seems scary as hell. Any other disease I can deal with. I'm not going to deal with none of them, because I'm not going to get any of them. But that damn Alzheimer's and dementia. Ooh. It's like dealing with any other disease, I got my mind to deal with it. But when you got a disease that's of the mind, you use your mind to deal with it. You see, that's just But anyway, appreciate that, Christian. Angelina, lion's mane mushroom. Just there you go. So oh man, y'all funny. So anyway, continuing. How many of you guys now feel okay? So we went through this whole God is love thing. For those who were especially here from the very beginning, this is why being on time is very important. But I understand y'all have lives. What do y'all think? Do you think this better equips you to deal with people? Okay, better equipped to deal with people if you do engage them in an argument about faith. I personally don't engage with people once they are talking about faith. I was like, because I don't argue faith. But if I were to argue faith, this is my primary way I would argue it, because this is the way that when I'm coaching someone through deconstruction and they're struggling with the faith aspect of it, this is where we get past the hurdle of faith. But because it demonstrates that this deity does not fulfill its own qualities, attributes of love. How many of you guys got that information, feel more equipped, better equipped? Some golden teachers. I like golden teachers. Maybe your phone is the mark. The huge computer that was built named the Beast is what they make me talking about. What's up, Coach? Grand Rising Norman. But what if I hold the phone in my left hand instead of my right hand? Thank you, Echo. I can't believe how Christians just appreciate what the Creator did and how amazing, but rather think they can know that Creator or speak to Him. With everything the universe is, their God would be interfering or think we're something special, making us the primary, not the universe. Yeah, I don't understand. You know, I was thinking about one of the things that I thought about while I was getting ready for this video was the fact, though, the most dangerous Christian is the one who says that even though this Bible says and shows you what God is, what love is, and that this God doesn't fit the bill, would then say, well, that is just for man. God is above that, and He can do whatever He wants. If He wanted to destroy everybody, He can destroy everybody. That's His right because He created us. Knowing good and full and well that if I created my child, does that mean I can destroy my child? No. If I go and I build a house on some land that I buy, can I then set fire to that house, or will I be charged with arson? If I don't go get permits, which means that I got to get permission from the city, county, and have everything set up correctly, I cannot burn my house without their permission. Even though I bought the land, I built the house, I bought everything, I constructed everything in that house, I still got to get permission. So that is a dangerous Christian who says that God can still murder, mayhem, all these things, slavery, that it's okay because that guy did it. That is a very dangerous person. Those are the ones who become cult leaders. That's an occultist. That's a negative occultist. You're a demon if you hold it in your right hand. Yep. But that would be their thing, to say that. And I was like, but God should not be above the standards that you set for other people. One of the things about when I teach leadership to people or to organizations, it's you cannot be a leader that expects your people to do something that you won't do yourself. You cannot expect them to uphold standards that you yourself do not uphold. It doesn't work that way. I'm glad you're getting something out of it. There's a YouTube channel called I Hate Dogs. That guy has a follow, and his followers need help. He is dragging so many people down with his doctrine. I hate dogs. Wow. I could do one that says I hate cats because I'm allergic to them bastards. Should try and get a live on his channel. Fix that crew. They're evil. Boom. That's exactly what I was saying. And part of my comment, nailed it, coach. Okay. I hate dogs. That's funny to me. I hate dogs. Probably got it. So what is the channel about? I mean, I hate dogs. I get that part. Is it literal? Is it a literal channel about hating dogs? Or is there some type of esoteric thought process of it? I hate dogs channel. Hey, he got 11,000 subscribers. $20-month-old mall, but stop accepting dogs in grocery stores. Okay, I'm now. I don't like it when I see. Look, I understand support animals. I do. But I can't stand when I see people bring their dogs and stuff into grocery stores, into restaurants. I don't give a shit if it is a support animal. No. The government tried to find me or sue me. This person was gonna. They started the process, but then they didn't finish. But I wouldn't let this lady bring her dog into my popcorn shop. I was like, hell no, I'm not bringing the dog in here. And then I told this dude he wanted to bring his dog in my cigar lounge. I was like, hell no, you're not bringing your dog in here. You're going to stay outside with your dog. And I don't care if it's a support animal. You're not bringing, think about it. You bring it's a support animal. I want to bring my dog in here in your popcorn shop. I open these buckets, dog hair and shit. I had to told this one lady, her and her husband had all this fucking dog hair all over their clothes. I was like, I'm sorry, y'all have to go outside and knock that shit off with it. Because it was covered like mad. I was like, y'all gotta knock that off. Because I can't have all that damn hair flinging. And then when they went outside, I had to open the door and I turned this big ass fan on to blow from the back to blow that shit out the front door. Religious group Christian states the Bible says God hates dogs. I didn't know. That's interesting. The Bible says that hate dogs. That's funny. Isn't it interesting? There are other people. Jared the dog slayer. Canine four-legged plague. There's quite a few other channels about hating dogs. Yep, you got some hellhounds. Anyone with a dog is a sinner. Wow. Grocery store should be there. That's good. Oh, shouldn't. Okay, should not be there. Yeah. It's ridiculous with all that. In Islam, you're not supposed to have a dog because the dog is considered unclean animal like a pig. Really? I didn't know that. Let me see. There's a lot of Muslims who live in my neighborhood. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen them walking a dog. But you know what I'm gonna do, Dwayne? Because I'll probably go outside and sit on the front porch at some point today. We're driving to North Carolina. Oh, is anybody in Wilmington, North Carolina, or anywhere near Wilmington, North Carolina? Is anyone in or near Wilmington, North Carolina? And the reason why I'm asking is because we're heading up to Wilmington tonight. You got Muslim students who have dogs. No dogs in the house while praying and not on the couch or the bed. All this dog hate. I don't hate dogs. I'm never going to have another dog. I've had several, but I'm not taking care of a pet. Pets are a nuisance to me because when I'm ready, like we're going in Wilmington tonight. If we had a pet, then we have to arrange shit for this pet, or it got to go with us and all that. We went to North Carolina, and Angelina's daughter went with us, and she had a little pet damn dog. I'm driving, that little bastard kept licking me on the back of my head. That bullshit. Well, are you in Wilmington this weekend, Dwayne? And so you're in Rocky Mount. So next time we're in Charlotte, well, shit, we will be going to Charlotte at some point. Because my goddaughter lives in Charlotte and I haven't seen her in years. Yeah. So kept licking me on my back of my neck, hitting my ear, and I had to drive sitting forward. Never again. Never again. And we drive a Mustang, so it's not like there's plenty of back room space for the dog to be back somewhere. No, you right there. Nope. When I did have a dog and go out of town, I would pour a whole bunch of I would have the sprinklers come on at a certain time so he can get some water. And then I poured a bunch of goddamn food in that thing. You better conserve. Nah, but I do hate cats. You mentioned before about this is the creator's dream, just like you dream. Isn't that a mythological story of how this is the Chatulua shot?
Mm-hmm.
That creation, that dreaming our reality. I'm not sure about the Chatulua. I know that one, but I haven't researched that in a long time. But I use the dream as a comparison to how it is written, how it is thought about in the Hermetics, that through mental manifestation created all of this. Like in a dream, you don't do it intentionally; it just happens. But that the all intentionally manifested the universe through thought energy, and it's the closest thing that we have to understanding that or exemplifying that. Now we can't. Well, it ain't the closest, but we also can sit here and you can daydream and purposely create. So that's the closest that we can. Now the difference is we can't maintain it forever. We go to sleep. We're finite, but an infinite all mind that can create all of this is different. But even in that, there is still the idea that as fleeting as our dream is, that you dream just for a night, in the dream it can seem to last for days, weeks, months. You see what I'm saying? So that's pretty much it. But that's the closest and best understanding that I can have of if there is a creative energy that manifested everything, an intelligent energy, it would be like that. This Geppettoing as God, low-level deities, no. I'm just saying, but the pets, man, I can't do it. That's why I have pet carriers. You can't put a pet carrier in the Mustang. It's too dang small. But I ain't carrying them. No. It's like I see people, they got their RVs. When we get the RV, I'm not putting a pet. We ain't gonna have a pet in the RV, not a fish tank. We ain't gonna have no dogs. You know what, Angelina? You was saying that BS when we was driving, talking he just want to be your friend. Uh-huh. She's gonna drive her own car next time. Grand Rising. Yeah. Yes, that's what I heard too. The part of that story I mentioned. Okay, yes, I'm with you. You might be, if you're down that way Sunday morning, send me an email. I'm gonna put my email address on here. So Dwayne, if you're in Wilmington Sunday morning, send me an email as soon as you know if you're gonna be down there that way. Morgo says that if we are being dreamed, then we are the creator, and the key is to become lucid within the dream. That is a very good way of putting it, and I can understand what he's saying in that one. You know how you, but there will still be a limit to that. By recognizing that it is a dream, then you begin to control your manifestations within the dream. You become a causation at a much, much higher level, at the level of a master, when you can become lucid within the dream of a creative mind. So imagine if when I'm dreaming, I am very lucid within my dreams as far as what's going on and what's going to happen. And I rewind that dream to make things go the way I want it to go. But if another party within the dream becomes lucid and can manifest their own things, one, it would scare the shit out of me. It ain't gonna scare me, but I would be amazed, like, what the fuck? And like, okay, dude, how'd you do that? Because I need to do that in the waking world. But yes, and maybe some of those, maybe within my dreams, some of those things that happen that seems to be beyond my control is those beings within my dream becoming lucid. It's a possibility. Can't say it, but it's a possibility. I can see the thought process on it. But seeing as how we're that's still within my finite brain. Since this brain of the universe is bigger and different and have more access, it's possible. This is where I would say the masters have achieved that level. It's funny that you think that nature doesn't come from God. Hilarious. You're all creating your own theories and just running with it, lost as you possibly could be. Yet you think that some deity that was written by people who didn't even understand the difference between a planet and a star, that they knew, they understood it. The ones who didn't understand basic weather patterns and they attributed those weather patterns to deity, they did. They didn't understand tectonic plates, and so they attributed the creation of mountains and volcanoes to that deity, but not understanding tectonic plates. Instead of them understanding nature and then giving those things and saying that God created these forces of nature, they said those forces of nature were a God, or some God was controlling those forces of nature, and that he made the droughts happen because the people weren't giving him enough blood sacrifices or obeying his statutes. That's why. Nothing to do with the environment and weather patterns, but their respect of this deity. That's what you want us to believe, Joshua? You think that's better? You're willing to accept what those people wrote. People who thought that if you went 6 miles off the coast, you'd fall off the earth. Those people. That's what you want us to accept. Their science, their understanding of nature, and them just giving it all over God. Yeah, we good. We good. So my muzzling dogs, muzzle isn't that good. Go overboard with their dogs. Yeah. I mean, I used to train and coach these people who they treat their dogs better than they treat people. No, you didn't miss the live with me and Kevin. Last week, we got up to Kevin's house and his internet service got all jacked up and we couldn't do it. So we had to postpone it. So you didn't miss it. Actually, but I'm going to tell him we can simulcast. I can have it on mine and he can have it on his. Because I was reading something about this StreamYard thing where two people can have StreamYard and you can collab on it and everything's seen on both of them. So what's funny in the show Supernatural, the creator becomes part of the story and manipulates it for his benefit on the suffering that's created from the manipulation to be part of his story. Very interesting. I've never seen the show Supernatural, but that would just those aspects. If a deity is manipulating the story of man for his own benefit, then that takes away from what love is, which would say that this God is not that God. Love, when he says that love is not self-seeking and that love does not easily anger, keep records of wrong, delight in evil, is not proud nor boast nor envious or jealous. It kind of takes away from all of that if you're in here manipulating things in order to have people worship you. Hell, just the idea of heaven. I created all y'all and all the angels so that at the end of the story, all of y'all are sitting up in heaven worshiping me 24/7. I created you for my own glory, for you to glorify me. That's an insecure, self-benefiting joker right there. That is not love. Boy, after a millennium of being down, bowing down and scraping and praying this thing, I hope they got good chiropractors in heaven. You're going to need some good chiropractors. Yeah, you're going to need some good chiropractors. Because there's going to be a lot of back pain. There's a lot of back pain, neck pain in heaven. So you're going to need some chiropractors. You know, some people who specialize in stretching you as well. Like we got these stretch centers that you can go to. You're going to need a lot of those too. Hell will be wicked for an all-knowing God to make. It is wicked for this God to make hell. Like, how do you make a hell? If you're all good, how can you know evil? How can you know of how to make a hell if you're supposed to be all good? You have to have a level, a knowledge of evil in order to make a hell. Yeah, heaven would be boring. Once my grandmother was, I remember, I don't know how old I was. I was probably like 10, 11, 12. Grandma was having like, oh, we're going to be in heaven. We're going to be praising God all day. It's going to be like being in church all day. I acted a fool for a whole year. And my grandmother was like, my mom and my grandma were like, what has gotten into you? And I told him, I said, well, grandma told me that heaven is going to be like church all day. I don't want to be in church all day. So I don't want to go to heaven. But I figure if I'm acting bad enough, I can get a good job in hell. Like maybe I'm at the door letting people in, or maybe I'm one of the torturers. I literally remember telling my mom, my grandma that. And their first response was that they laughed at me so hard. And I'm sitting there thinking like, I'm serious. Can you imagine being like 10, 11 and you serious? Like I've been planning this. And they sat there and just laughed at my head. Boy, you're going to enjoy heaven. But hey, I was a kid. That's what I thought. Don't tell me it's going to be like church all day. That shit boring. Matata. You always date those dudes in your college that pass out pamphlets. You know, I want to go wherever that I think he's in Dallas at the Dallas Seminary. That guy I use some of his stuff for videos. The next time I go to Dallas, I'm gonna make sure I'm there during the week or something like that. I'm gonna find that dude and I'm gonna record it. I'm gonna wear his ass out. I just don't like him. He's an arrogant, pompous ass. Damn, that's why this stream and group is absolutely amazing. Hey, everybody contributes. That's why I like it. That's why I like it, because everybody contributes. I don't. If it was just me talking all the time, I would get bored. And in your Sunday clothes and Sunday shoes too. Exactly, Raquel. Yeah, I'll take hell. Hell will be so much better. Like, look, I was in the lounge, regaling them fools. I was like, man, y'all, look. I'm telling y'all gonna want to come to hell after I get there. Because hell gonna be lit when I get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm like, look, hey, who's in charge? All right, you in charge, because the Bible trying to say who's in charge. We don't know who's in charge according to this Bible. So who's really in charge? All right, you in charge? Look, bro, we're gonna turn this party out. Okay, let me tell you what we're gonna get a good DJ in here. Come on, let's snatch somebody it's some DJs who not dying. I know you got some on around here. We're gonna get some good food. We're finna turn this joint up. What they say, it's gonna be lit. I was telling Joe, so I got some dudes in there who got midget fetishes. I'm like, look, we're gonna have y'all midgets for y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, how the Muslims say they got 12 and 72 virgins. We gonna everybody fetish. Everybody fetish. We're gonna match up all the fetishes, and everybody can have their fetishes. Hey, you like good food, dude. Let me tell you what's on the menu. And what's so funny is one of the dudes is a pastor. He was like, damn, you making it sound good down there. I might need to go down there. Now, of course, it's all in good fun. But the dude was like, yeah. Hell gonna be lit when I get there, according to the Christians. I'm gonna change the game. If you can have a, and that was the thing I said, if you can have a war in heaven, then certainly there could be a war in hell, and I can take over. and then I'm gonna remake it that people are gonna be like, man, this is what's up. God equals talk to many people in their minds of dogma tales and love of Canis Major. I love all animals, but I do think some people go overboard in their level of obsession over their dogs. Oh yeah, these people be tripping. I knew these people. Their dog had some kind of disease, and it cost them like $35,000 to get treatment for this dog. And I was like, y'all crazy. Sorry, little people. My bad. Oh Lord. And, I hate this political correction bullshit. Little people. Who are you talking about? That pastor from Rec that goes and debates college kids on Christian religion? Yeah, I don't know what Rec is, but I just see him on YouTube, and I've done some. I did a video yesterday where he was talking to a Muslim girl, and I was interjecting. So Caucasian guy, seems like he's tall, thin face, dark curly hair, but I think he's in Dallas. But yes, he's always on some campus debating kids about religion. Notice he always chooses kids, and then I saw him on a video against an adult and getting his ass whooped. Thank you, Jeremy. Oh, hey, look, if I got to go to hell, we're going to have fun. I'm just telling you right now. If there's a revolution in heaven, there's going to be a revolution in hell, and we're going to have a good time. Crystal, you go overboard on your animals? I bet you probably do. Oh, Debbie. Why are you trying to mess up my hell? Why are you trying to bring cats to hell? I'm allergic to cats. Why are you trying to bring the cats to hell? Can't have no cats. Okay, we can have a cat zone over there. You can be over there and you get your cats. Like, that's the cat zone. Over there. You're going to stay over there. And then you're going to have to go and you're going to have to brush yourself off before you come over to the other side. What's his name? I don't know his name. At least I can't think of it now. Why people care more about their dogs and cats over cows, chicken, pigs, and birds? It's all the mental condition to think some are superior than others. Yeah. Go to India. Dogs ain't got that much of a privilege that they got in America. But mess around with them cows, see what happens. Cows are sacred. But it's just depending on the country. We're conditioned based on our countries. Yeah, that's his stick to do that. Oh, Wrecked is his show. Gotcha. I've noticed every time I debate them, they can't use any other information other than their Bible. Yeah, which is very limiting to them. And there are certain questions that when you get to it, they just can't answer. They get stumped. What do you mean by lucid? I think you meant lucid. Lucid dream, like when you're lucid in a dream, that means you're somewhat awake. You're conscious that you are in a dream, or you're conscious of everything that's going on around you, and things are not just happening, but you maneuver through them in the same way that you can maneuver through life right now, like in your waking state. So the same way I can choose to go open that door or not go open the door right now is the same way I have that level of consciousness in a dream, that I can open that door or I cannot open that door. So if you can do that in your dream, then what we was talking about is being able to do that in the waking world, to open the door to a higher consciousness or not. Not that you're just forced to do things based on some other causation, but you become the causation. Hell is going to be lit. Right, you do an investigation. You just can't trust one person. You gotta get a combination of information. Rats are sacred and cows. I don't want to go I don't want to deal with people. Rats ain't sacred ever to me. But I understand what you're saying. I read a book called The Origin of Christianity that states that started me on my enlightenment, and it was written by two Jewish rabbis, and got the timelines in it. It was really good book. Just throw it out there. What's the name of that book? I think I might have read that book. But, you mean cows, not crows? Oh, I didn't. Without my glasses on, now to look at it, I see it says crows. But I automatically figured it was cows. But I think I know that book, Curious One. I think I've read that one. Does that go into the Flavians and how they got down with the Flavians got down with the Herods and the Philos of Alexander, and through the writings of and manipulated the writings of Josephus, and then manifested this Christianity based on trying to change Judaism into a more passive form of Judaism, and at the same time utilizing it to demonstrate that Vespasian was a deity because of Jewish scrolls. But yeah, I know in your Hindu countries, cows are sacred. Elephants are sacred too, but cows are like this super sacred because of Geshnu. I think Geshnu is the elephant, so I think that's why elephants are sacred. I forgot why cows are sacred to them. But yeah, but as far as other dogs ain't sacred. Shit, dogs are damn near a sacred animal in America. Dogs and cats. I mean, you could sell a child drugs in America and get like 18 months in jail, right? But kill a dog and they will give you 3 years plus. And depending on what state you're in, you might get more time than that. Valentino, the falling of the earth concept goes back to my premises. Most globe earthers think, flat earthers think earth is card-like, disc-like planet. That is not what we think. It's a wave of energy. But just like religion, there are different variations of flat earthers. There are flat earthers who think that it is is flat within mountains and a dome. And then there's like Asgardian. You ever see Asgard, how they draw it do it on Marvel with the little parts at the bottom? But there were those who thought it was flat and the water falls off. And then that there was a dome. So there are flat earthers who think it's a flat, like a card. You got different variations. This is the thing. The beauty of humans is that I doubt if you can ever find two humans who agree 100% on anything. That's why you're always going to have variations. The book is about 700 pages, but it gives you a timeline from when King James came, the counselor, Nadia, the counselor Chella on the council might be. Oh, that might not be the one. I don't know. I don't think that's the one I read because I don't think it was 700 pages. What's the title, man? You don't know the title? He said if you go to the Philippines, the dog is an endangered species. Just saying. Did y'all see that video with a dude in China? There was a rat crawling up the wall. He just ran and grabbed the rat, and then that motherfucker ran to the kitchen. And people started leaving the restaurant. I would have left that restaurant too, because I was like, nah, bro, you should have ran outside the front door. The front door was closer than the kitchen, but that joker ran to the kitchen. I would have been like, oh, hell no. And I've been in places where I know I've eaten all kinds of things. I've had some monkey, I've had goat, I've had some insects. I've had some, I can't tell y'all that one, I might get myself in trouble for that one. But I've had some other animals that you ain't supposed to eat. But you ain't gonna grab a rat in the restaurant on the wall. And there was a big rat too, like a handful, and go run into the kitchen with that monkey. And then I'm supposed to stay there. I'm not even paying the bill. I'm leaving. Y'all tricked me. On the menu, it said beef tips, beef squares. I thought I had some Szechuan beef. Y'all gave me some Szechuan rat. That ain't no damn sesame beef. That's some sesame rat. It ain't General Tao's chicken. It's General Tao's rat. I'm not saying all the restaurants, but that one in particular, hell no. But I have been in a place where if you order a burger, it's going to be goat or lamb. It will not be cow. They will not. Ain't no cow. So I just don't let me know. Just don't let me know. I go to Philippines. I don't want to know. It say beef on there. Goddamn it, it's beef. You know, if it's Fido, then hey, it just happened to be Fido. I'm sure I've eaten Fido before. I'm quite positive I have eaten Fido. I'm sure, I've eaten some cat. Because when I was in Barcelona, there is a market. There's the right off of La Rambla, which is the main street in Barcelona. There's a market. If you go in that market, yeah, you see some emu and you see some goat and all that, but they got some skinned cats up there too. And they sit up there and they like, they were like that, and they were skinned and they were cats. So I just resigned myself and said, you know what, I probably have had some cat while I was in Barcelona. Just don't know it. Ever have deja vu, and then when you have it, know what's going to happen, but try to actually change the deja vu? Yes. I have deja vu probably about 5-6 times a week on average. And sometimes I try to change it, and I do change it. Other times, I try to just know what's going to happen. Like I try to evaluate it and say, like, okay, a red car is going to drive past here and stop at this neighbor's house for a second, then go. And then another person going to walk down the street with a red hat on. Like I try to like get ahead of it and everything. But sometimes if the deja vu is happening and I can get ahead of it and I don't like it, I'll change it. Oh, you're driving. Oh man, hey, you ain't gotta type nothing while you drive. Text. What is it called? Voice to text, man. Voice to text. The origin of Christianity. All right. Oh, I've been told that they have cooked dog in Philippines, Thailand, Singapore. Yeah, I am. I was in the Marine Corps for 8.5 years. Didn't necessarily make it to the Asian countries though. Spent most of that the United States, some Central America, some South America, whole lot of Europe, North Africa, Middle East. Yes, exactly. To make sure it's truly what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want the deja vu to tell me what the Powerball number is when it's that one Billy, when it's a Billy. I want the power. Give me the power. I take 100 million. I take 100 million. Or I take it wherever the payout after all the taxes and everything is 100 million. Hey, I take that. Just why can't I get the deja vu on that? I want that to control the deja vu would be the thing. To control it prior to, like to be sitting here right now and recognize that, you know, whatever those numbers gonna be. That'd be something. Then it'd be like, yo, so this Coach Renz, and yes, today we're in Egypt. And then next week, oh, we're up here in Syria at this site. And then next week, we're in India at this temple. And then the next week, we're in Siberia at this pyramid that people talked about. And the next week, we're in Lake Titicaca. That is exactly what I be using money for. We be all over this thing. All over this thing. I don't know if y'all can see the little dots in it right now. But there's a whole lot of, actually we got to get some more because there's a lot more places to put on here. But we'll be all over this thing. All over this map. There's a whole lot of places I ain't been to. You know, some of them, there's places I could put all in Africa, but this one is places that I've been to and Angelina's been to, and it was vacation that you got to actually tour it. I did a lot of this would be on here, and a lot of this would be on here, would be have tax in it, but I went there to work. So if we counted work, then I'd be all up in here in Russia, all up in here in this Kazakhstan and Turkmenistan and Iran and Iraq and more places in Turkey and a whole bunch of most of the embassies in Africa and some of them down here in South America. But the rule is the ones that I do went there to work don't count. You mess around with it, that's what you do. Yeah, I want. Give me the lottery numbers. The big one though. I know little one, I don't know 10 million. You know I take 10 million. Think of all the energies and thoughts affecting all the energies and thoughts, etc., affecting that beast that that is the lottery. Majors never try to mess with it because of that. Oh yeah, there's so much energy going into the thought processes of the lottery. To me, whenever I do play the lottery, it's just for fun. It's just for fun. I never play it with the intent of actually winning or trying to put energy towards winning. It's just a fun thing. Don't worry, you don't like God. It's fine. He gave you that choice. But the next life, you ain't gonna like it. Oh, is that right? What God? You talking about Vishnu or Brahma? You talking about Odamare? Oshun? Shiva? Quetzalcoatl? They're all just as valid as any other god. Odin, Poseidon, Zeus, Enlil. Okay, gotcha. You've done that when I've had a bad dream, I was able to come out of it. Yeah. And there have been times where I've waken up from a dream and then say, nope, I'm going back into that dream and I'm going to change this damn dream. And I go back into it and change it. The electromagnetic spectrum of the torus field is spherical. We don't live on the outside of the torus field. Why are you always trying to get me into this flat earth debate, man? Hey, I'm not doing it. Debating flat earth is like debating somebody in faith. It really is. I'm gonna take you out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean and we're gonna find that big ass boat that sinks. You never know, you could win. Someone does. No, yeah, that's the only reason to play. It's like you never know. Just go ahead and you throw $2 out there for the possibility. If I did win, I'm not gonna like, oh, thank you, Jesus. That ain't gonna happen. Yeah. Where do I buy my shirts? Oh, here, there, everywhere. Actually, okay, so all my short sleeve shirts that I have right now, Angelina bought those because she actually likes to shop. I don't. Well, she don't like to shop, but let me rephrase. She likes to shop online. I don't like to shop at all. Just whenever different stores. Most of the time I buy my shirts at soup stores. Yeah, most of the time they're at suit stores. And this shirt is actually old as hell. This shirt is, I think I've had this shirt probably a good 10, 15 years. I've had this shirt. Yeah. But suit stores. So different suit stores. Whether it's Men's Warehouse or things like that. See, I'm gonna get religion if I win. Let me tell you something. If I won the lottery, I would start out the video. I won the lottery, and I do the little jumping dance and everything. I catch the Holy Spirit, and I stop and like, let me explain to you actually why I won the lottery, because I went out and I bought a ticket. It's called cause and effect. That's why. Have a good one, Raquel. Appreciate you for being here. Don't forget to share the videos. And then I'll explain cause and effect and how I won the lottery because of cause and effect. Simple as that. I know that's another reason why I don't get into the flat earth debate. It's kind of like why I don't get into the indigenous or non-indigenous debate either. Because the thing is, at the end of the day, has lost access to your what? At the end of the day, what is the benefit? What difference are we making here? What's the end game? What's the purpose, the goal for that? Right? Like where does that move us? Okay, the earth is flat. There's a dome. NASA lying. Government's lying. What are we gonna do about it? Just like when people come to me and they're like, "Oh, we're indigenous. You keep talking about we're from Africa. We're in from Africa. We're indigenous." Okay, so if we all accepted that we're indigenous, what you gonna do? What you doing? Are you getting land? Are you getting a treaty like the other 5 civilized tribes got? Are we getting a treaty? Are we taking some land? Are we building our own communities? What's the purpose? Give me something. Because if it's just, oh, we just gotta know, we gotta know so that we can know, then it serves no purpose to me. And I've actually lost some people who I was cool with because they were like heavy into the whole indigenous thing, and I was like, okay, what's your end goal? What's the plan? We just deconstruct out of this religion so that we are not held down to the slave mentality of it. You can go and live your life. You can grow. You can become whatever you desire to become. You're not walking around in fear, guilt, and shame, so that you can elevate your consciousness so that based on what I think we can, and from what I've been able to, the evidence that I look at, you can then not come back to this reality. Right? And so that's the point. It's an individual journey process, helping people to understand that their life doesn't have to be in shambles simply because they walked away from this religion. You're going to lose family members. How do you deal with that emotionally? Keep yourself from going into depression and things of that nature. Individual helping of people. I ain't trying to build a community where we all go live together. So there's just inherent dangers in that one. I just can't do it right now. I might change my mind one day. But the point is, if somebody's on Facebook, let me know you're still there, because I just got this message and I thought I fixed it, but I'm not sure. But so anyway, but if you're doing that indigenous thing, are you gonna go get the benefits that the indigenous people get? You're gonna get some of that. If you're not, then what's the point? Because whether I'm driving down the street or not, and if an asshole of a cop pull me over, they don't look at me and say, "Oh, well, he's indigenous, so I'm not going to harass him." No, he's black. That's the only thing they care about. He black. A boat doesn't sink on the level surface. The moon still controls the tides on a level Earth. I only bring it up when I hear people throw out their lack of understanding, flat Earth or wave Earth. Okay. But we still exist in this environment where the moon has tides and ends in and out. Um, right. Boats don't sink on a flat surface. They don't. They wouldn't, but they do. But when we do it, we see it. So we agree with that one. But what's the benefit? What's the benefit? Where does it change? Does it change how we live? Does it change anything that we do? Is it hindering us from being able to have scientific discoveries of health and wellness and things that actually affect our lives? Because let's be honest, colonizing Mars right now is not something that will ever affect our. That's not more than likely going to affect anybody's life who is an adult today. Now, the end game is knowing where we are. This is interesting. Where we are, understanding that alone proves the existence of life itself. Well, the proof of the existence of life itself right now is the fact that I can look at my hand and know that I'm alive. I can look at that yellow butterfly that's been flying around my front yard for the last 10 minutes, right? That cat that walked across from my yard, the trees, the grass, all that. But the afterlife, how does that? Because I accept an afterlife regardless of the shape of the earth, right? I accept that our consciousness continues to ghost and do something somewhere. But the shape of the earth has nothing to do with that for me. So how does the shape of the earth affect that? I'm curious. I'm legitimately curious in that one. And you know my personality, Valentino. And hurry up, because it's past 3 hours. And we got to go to I got to make some videos before Angelina gets home, and she's getting off early today. So yeah, hurry up, because I got to get off this thing. I just thought about that because she's getting off in about 2 hours, about an hour or two. And I need to shoot these other videos and get myself ready for this drive. Man, don't be calling me. I ain't heard from your brother in 7-8 months. Call me in the middle of my show. What's up, Eyes Wide Open? Yes, you are, and we're about to get off as soon as Valentino answers a question. We're getting off. Getting off. Waiting on you, sir. Waiting on you, Valentino. But while I'm waiting on him, so you guys know Monday we're driving back from North Carolina, so I more than likely won't be doing a live Monday morning. Definitely won't be Monday morning. I can tell you that, most likely. But don't know if I'll be able to do one when we get home Monday night. Probably not. I'm not sure, but I definitely will shoot some videos Monday. So probably won't have a live Monday. If we do, it'll be a surprise to myself if we have one. I hate to ask in the comment, but I'm a painter. I want to do a piece of something for you in appreciation for your streams. And it's something since limited. Everything got blurry on me. It's something since limited fun. It's something to show appreciation. Anything in mind, or should I just pick the subject? I'll just pick the subject. That way it's more from you. Just pick the subject. Is consciousness the same as spirit? It can, yeah. I would say so. It is what people are calling spirit. Consciousness is, yeah, it's what people are calling spirit. Uh, is it spirit in the sense of these most religions? No, but it is what they would call spirit or soul. It's that quintessential part of you that actually makes you you. But more scientifically, it would be your consciousness, not some ethereal spirit kind of created by the Yahweh or Brahma or somebody like that. Aren't pigs and cows human-made animals like spliced? I'm not sure about the exact animals of pigs and cows, but have man figured out the science of beyond just breeding certain animals to get a new animal, but genetically modifying animals? Yeah, I don't know exactly if it's a pig or a cow, but we have genetically modified the shit out of some animals. You can't know where you're going if you don't know your exact location. When using your GPS, Google when you need your location. It isn't the shape per se, but it's what we are and where we are. I kind of see where you're going with that one. But whether the Earth is a sphere or a torus would be, to me, would be irrelevant to me elevating to a next level of consciousness or returning back to exist here again. Because if I'm already here, then I know how to get here. Kind of like when you drive and you're unconscious of your driving, but you've been somewhere long enough that you get there anyway. But I do understand what you're saying in that if you know where you are, then, but I know that I am here. I may not know the fullness of here, but it's kind of like when you're driving down the street, you're like, I know where I'm at, and I know that I'm gonna make it right on this street, but I can't identify the fullness of where I am. But I understand what you're saying, though. Doesn't consciousness end when we die, since consciousness is a function of the brain? That's the thing about it. Consciousness is beyond just the brain. You know, science has been trying to identify where consciousness is, and we still don't know. Like the electrical impulses within our body, we still don't understand how they happen, where it comes from. The Comedics thought that your consciousness was in your heart, which is why they kept the heart, but they would throw away the brain. So we're not 1% sure where consciousness is. My best thought process on it is that consciousness is a part of, okay, so in your private areas, you have synaptics like your brain does. In your stomach, you have synaptics like your brain. In your heart, you have synaptics like your brain. And of course, in your brain, you have synaptics. So there are synaptics in all those four portions. So your consciousness, to me, logically seems to be comes from all those different sources, just at varying degrees of connections with other energetic aspects of the universe. Like you can be, your gut can tell you to do something, but you will emotionally change what your gut is telling you. So your stomach brain is telling you what to go left, but your heart brain emotionalized that impulse, that thought, and or your brain rationalizes that thought, and then you wind up going left when you should have went right. But you had a thought that emanated from your gut. You have thoughts that emanate from your private area, you know. But what controls it? What are you gonna? But then all of them play a part in making the decision or the fullness of the thought. So by balancing and controlling, by getting the balance between all of those and being able to understand how they connect to different aspects of energy, we can elevate ourselves to be able to function at a higher conscious level. You know, I grew up with my mom and my uncles and grandfather and everybody saying, you know, don't let your little head get you in trouble. You know, you better think with your big head, not your little head. But there are times when your little head knows what it's talking about, and your big head is the thing that leads you astray. Like Your little head is telling you not to mess with this woman, but your big head tells you to mess with that woman. Or your little head is telling you to mess with somebody. That person. There's something about just that person. They just set you on fire. But your big head is looking at everything else around that person and thinking like, they too big, too little, too light, too dark, eyes too close together. But your little head is just connecting like a champ. But you listen to that little head and they treat you right. I know some folks who are with some folks that mentally your big brain would say, there ain't no way. But they had a sexual connection right off the bat that initiated the relationship. And then all the other aspects of that person that they would not have been able to see because of that brain, they saw that person, and they truly saw that person. So, I be damned. She got a red hat. He got a red hat. He wear a red hat, just went down the street. For those who know, we remember the deja vu conversation, you know what I'm talking about. He got a red hat, just went right down the street. But we still don't understand consciousness fully. It's kind of one of those things we just know it exists. It exists in some format. But as far as that conscious, in the current state that you're in now, existing once, yes, made up of multiple pieces of different lives, because I do accept reincarnation. Sure. You only have this one moment that you recognize it. You recognize it right now in this one moment that you are. What will it be if you come back again? Of course, it'll have some differences to it. But we haven't figured out a scientific way to prove it. So it's theory, not fact. Fact of some type of existence, but theory as to where it comes from, how it forms, what it is, how many lives it's lived, how it goes after this life, what was it in the previous life, is it in there another life? All of that, still debatable. Still don't know those things. I think one of the hardest things for people in religion is just to be able to say, I don't know. Even people who do what I do, it's hard for them to say, I don't know. So they have to find some way of saying that this is it. But it's like, it's okay to say you don't know, that this is the limit of my knowledge, or this is the limit of knowledge that we have as a society, or anybody's gotten to, or scientifically we've gotten. It's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know, or this is as far as we got. And I'm making an educated guess based on what we have, what we got. And of course, there are going to be people on both sides, on 11 different sides of the argument. It's not just two sides of the argument. The arguments are fifth dimensional. So, but we have been doing this for 3 hours and 18 minutes. It's time for me to get off of here. It's almost 2 o'clock. Angelina will be here in about an hour and a half. And there goes the red car. There's the red car. And he went to my neighbor's house across the street. And my neighbor across. There's the red car. I'll be damned. It just went in the wrong order. It was the red car first, and then the person walking down the street with the red hat. And I've never seen that person walking down the street before. But I don't remember who asked about, I think that was, who said, Jeremy said something about deja vu. There you go, Jeremy. It was in the reverse order, though. I said it would be a red car that would come up the street and go over there to my neighbor's house, and then a person with a red hat. And I'm just saying the shit. But it went in reverse order. The red hat person went down the street, and the red car went across the street. I don't know. Did God tell me and I prophesied? God is a jealous God. What do you mean? That's not pure love. Yeah, it's not. This God is jealous as hell. Oh, man. It is, Crystal. You mentioned North Carolina. I had an 11-hour delay there, which we talked then. But if ever happens again, reason I would love to come and waste some hours. Oh no, I'm not in North Carolina. I'm in Atlanta. Yeah, so that's gonna have to happen in Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta. We're going to Wilmington, North Carolina this weekend. So if I was saying, I think Dwayne may possibly be there Sunday, and I've told him to let me know. That's why I sent my email. But yeah, we're going to be in Wilmington, North Carolina this weekend. Help us if you have an amazing 10 hours that's left. What? Every second I move forward. Oh, red hat, red coffee. You have an awesome day. You're atheist. Okay, I appreciate it. Don't know. In the flow, man. We in the flow. Practically my neighbor in Atlanta. Where are you at, Charles? Y'all, I'm supposed to be getting off here. Angelina's gonna be like, see, that's why you didn't get shit done before it was time to leave. So I want to leave by no later than 6. I want to be on the road by 6. You know we gotta stop at Buc-ee's in Florence. See, y'all be saying stuff at the end to be making me stay a little bit later. That's y'all get me. Y'all trying to get me in trouble, but I ain't getting in trouble. Oh, you're in Rome. Okay, yeah, that's about an hour away from where I'm in Stone Mountain exactly, Charles. Okay, Charles is in Rome, Georgia. There's a decent number of people who come on here who are in the Georgia, close enough to Georgia area. We might have to do a meet and greet one day. Do a whole little meet and greet thing. That'd be kind of interesting. I'm not gonna ask y'all right now where y'all at. We're not doing that. We're gonna do that later, and maybe we put together some kind of meet and greet kind of situation. Because I know some of y'all will travel as well, so that's something that we can look into. Have a meeting of the minds, the Temple of Knowledge meeting. But gotta get off here. I'm not answering nothing else. Y'all have a great day. Always remember that you got to free yourself to be yourself because your greatness is non-negotiable. Good journey, good vibration. And I will see you guys on video all weekend, probably live on Tuesday at the earliest. Tuesday, definitely live of our reading of the Bible. We're starting in Numbers. I think is the next book. We just finished Leviticus. We'll be doing Numbers, starting chapter 1. If I get to do a live at any time over the weekend, it'll just be whenever I can. Just pop in and do something. So y'all have a great day, and I'll see y'all later.